And we are live, everybody. Welcome to the Ravencast. Today, we're having a special conversation with Martae Ruleas. He's coming back on the show. I did send him the link, and we are already live. Hopefully, everyone is doing well tonight. I'm joined by Jim. Supposed to be joined by Dan, but I guess he's fell asleep. But it's just me right now. We're currently waiting on Martae to come. Hopefully he shows up, which I think he will. But yeah, welcome to the stream, everybody. Make sure you guys hit the like button, smash the like button on the way in the door. And we are officially live. So yeah, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's topic is going to be talking about if the Iran war is in America's best interest. You guys already know my position on it. I think the war is not in our best interest. I'm actually fully against the war because I feel like we're fighting for Israel's interest more than America's interest. And I feel like it's been hurting America more than it's helping because we're spending billions or trillions of dollars that can go to, stuff here like homeless shelters and food, groceries and stuff. But like, that's the thing. Gas prices are high. Like, everything's just high. The economy's fucked. And that's why I'm fully against this war, because I feel like it's just hurting us more than it's helping us. So, yeah, that's why I'm fully against the war. And I'll be talking to Martae about it whenever he gets here. But hopefully everyone's doing well. Great to see people in the chat. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Jim, you want to catch up with the panel that it's already here, starting with Giga Chat. Giga Chad Epi, how have you been? And what is up, people in the chat? I see people here. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Venice. Whoa.
I am here. I'm doing good.
In fact, because I sent the link to Martae, I don't know what's taking him long, but while we wait on him, which I'll be patient, it's fine. But this is Chuddy. Hey, Chuddy, what is up? It's been a while, my friend. How have you been doing, my friend? I'm glad you're tuning into the show. You did DM me and say you still watch the show, and it seems like you are still here. I'm glad you are here. Hopefully you're doing well, my friend. So, Jim, what is your opinion on the Iran war and where we currently are with it so far? Because we're currently now Trump saying that we won the war for a 30th time, and then Iran decided to completely bomb the UAE's oil infrastructure and completely destroy and fuck over the UAE, and now we're back in the war, and the war is resumed. Is the war over? And if so, like, what's the plan moving forward now that the war is resumed and the UAE is getting fucked over?
My opinion has always been just get two nukes and fire them at both sides. But that's just my opinion. Now, if you want my actual opinion, I believe it's retarded to get invested in a foreign war, knowing damn well that it's not going to result in anything good, and we're going to end up using our resources to fund a proxy war that is not needed. And instead we need to fund things here at home that are needed, not things that are in a proxy war.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel like we need to fund stuff more at home because gas prices are going up. Not only that, but they want to talk about regime change in other countries. We need a regime change here because the Epstein pedos currently run our government and nobody has been charged with the crimes of Epstein within like sex trafficking children. And I feel like before we worry about any other corrupted governments, we got to get rid of the corruption in our own government first. And we also got to restrain Israel too. That's the thing. I'm not saying, oh yeah, just let Iran do whatever. We need to restrain Iran because Iran has been chanting death to America for 47 years. And I don't support, the Islamic regime either. But at the same time, it's like Israel is no different than Iran. In fact, Israel kills innocent Christians just like Iran does. They bomb churches. They do the same shit that we call out Iran for doing. So it's like, I feel like we shouldn't even be taking sides. We should restrain both sides. Like, for anything, we should be like, hey, you guys either kill each other or you guys both agree to the same diplomacy not taking sides, not having special favors. Because the only reason that we couldn't even get a deal is because we're favoring Israel instead of restraining both sides. You know what I mean? And we're not restraining both sides. So, yeah. Also, what's up, Glitch Hunter? Glad you've been joining us as well. Jumping to see where Martae is at. Oh, he said copy. Okay, he should be coming on soon. He just sent me that. So he's probably getting his own stream ready and all that. So we will wait. But Martae has messaged me back, and he will be here in a few minutes. But until then, I feel like we have gotten nothing, because I would support the war more if we actually got something out of it. But the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. The regime is still intact. We haven't achieved a single goal besides killing an old man that was already dying of cancer. And it's just like, what's the point of doing this war if we haven't achieved any of our goals? You know what I mean? Like, we haven't achieved any of our goals whatsoever. We haven't collapsed the regime. We haven't freed the Iranian people. We haven't done any of that. And we have no way out of this war. So it's like our only option is either to fully nuke Iran, which will cause a lot of backlash, or we leave the Middle East, which will make us lose the war and cause a lot of backlash. Either way, Trump put himself in a lose-lose situation. And that's why I'm against the whole war, because we're in a lose-lose situation. We're in a situation where if we nuke Iran, then China's going to nuke us, because China said anyone that uses nuclear weapons against Iran first will be nuclear retaliation, because it hurts their energy structure when Iran is completely obliterated and destroyed, because they have a lot of, Iranian businesses. And it seems like Martae has joined the studio. Oh, and he's gone. Whoops. Guess he'll be back. But yeah, he's joined the studio for a second. Saw you there, and you didn't. But anyways, it's like, that's the thing, like I was saying, it's like China makes a lot of money from Iran. So like if Iran were to get nuked, then China would retaliate, and there'd just be a nuclear war, and it would hurt the planet and would hurt the environment. And that's why, like, the nuking option doesn't work. And not only that, but leaving Iran and surrendering to them doesn't work either, because China's going to be like, oh, look, America's weak. They couldn't even go against Iran. And China's going to get cocky and start doing shit. And the Iran war has already hurt us financially. So it gives China an advantage to go after Taiwan, take it over, and we can't do anything about it because we're already hurt with the Iran war, and we're also spending money on Cuba at the same time. We're about to go to war with Cuba, which Cuba is going to be a little more easier because Cuba's missile program's done, the power's out, the technology's out, all the stuff that with Cuba is basically done. So it's like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I don't know why he's so focused on Iran when Nigeria is actually more of a security issue, because they actually are murdering a lot of Christians, and we're actually are technically allied with Nigeria, so technically we do like have somewhat of a protection. But the problem is, it's like the Nigerian government is corrupted and all that. But it's just, I don't know. I'm just against this fucking Iran war because it's for Israel's interest is to expand greater Israel, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe we should be fighting these foreign wars for a foreign government that hates us. Because that's the thing. Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. Israel does it. Also, Charlie says, how do you do? We're doing good over here, just chilling. Hopefully you're doing well in Nigeria. And I would like to have you on like in a future episode, probably like Sunday. Oh, there's Martae. He's back on the studio. Hello, Martae. You are back on the air. What is up, my friend?
What's going on, man? I had to roll out my intro for my, my subscribers and my audience and everybody like that. Of course, I wanted to crash your studio today. I wanted to dive deep into this, but anyways, how are you guys doing? I see the guy with the guy's still alive. I thought they offed him.
I come back. I rise from, nowhere and beyond.
He's risen from the dead.
No, but this is. I've talked to you before. I'm Jim.
Jim. Okay. According to your picture, I'll ask you a question. This is your logic. According to your picture, what do 25-year-olds have in common?
Uh-oh. I don't know. What do they have in common?
All 20 of them are 5-year-olds.
That's good. That's good.
Anyways, let's begin, man. It's a crazy time right now. We are dealing with the war in Iran. Shit's popping off. Shit's crazy. I know that maybe the panel may be divided here. Maybe, and it is still Lord Triton because I put Triton up. I didn't know. It's like, what was it on Discord? It was something Triton, and now I look over.
Surname Triton. Yeah, that was just my username on Discord.
Gotcha. Okay.
It doesn't matter what you put on like your stream. Like you can put surname Triton, Triton, Lord Triton. I go by
surname. That's what it was. It was surname Triton. Yeah, that's the thing though. Is like I saw that. I was like, as soon as I saw Lord, I'm like, the only person that I know that goes by Lord is Lord Jake Rattlesnake, and then of course there's Lord Triton here. Jake's a good friend of mine as well too. But moving forward with this, it's crazy. May I ask both of you, or dare ask who you are rooting for in this conflict? Are you for President Trump at the moment or anti-Trump?
I'll be honest. I am anti-Trump. I'm anti the war altogether. Like I'm not pro the Islamic regime, but I am very, very critical of the war. Like I feel like I'm probably the most out of me and Jim. I'm probably the most critical of the war out of.
Wait, hold on. Let me go ahead. Let's do this one at a time because that was like three things right now. When I said anti-Trump, you said, yes, I'm anti-Trump. And then you rolled on to other things. Let's deal with the first things first before we go over to Jim. So you would have voted for the other party?
No. I voted for Trump. I just don't like the stuff he's been doing.
No, I'm saying, like, knowing what you know right now, would you have voted for Harris?
Knowing what I know now, no, because I know she's no better.
So you're not anti-Trump. You're just anti what he's doing right now.
Yes. I'm more anti what he's doing right now because I actually voted for him in the 2024 election for him to put America first. And I feel like with all the stuff he's been doing, with mainly the Israel stuff, like putting Israel first, signing I know it's a lot to get to, but it's just a lot.
Just understand. Those are two different things. When you say I'm anti-Trump, but I'm not anti-Trump. Let me clear this up. You're not anti-Trump. You're just anti the direction that he's moving in right now. The promise given were not being fulfilled. So you're not anti-Trump. No. You just don't like it. So we're on the same side. Okay. I am pro-Trump. What you are is you're pro-Trump. You're just not for the war. Maybe that's not why you voted for him, because that's not why I was voting for anti-war myself. Are we on the same page now?
Yeah, because I voted. Yeah, because
you're not anti-Trump.
I'm not anti-Trump. Okay. I'm just anti like the stuff he's been doing lately. Like I wish he would like there's multiple like there's stuff I agree with, but there's like multiple issues with like mainly with like with the war stuff and also the Epstein stuff. Like the war stuff, I'm definitely like not a big fan of because I feel like he dragged us into the war because he used to be against the Iran war. And that's what I voted for him. It's like to pull us out of wars, to not be like Hussein Obama and pull us into all these foreign wars. But then he's just like Obama and pulling us to another Iraq, basically.
When you hold on, I think that's blasphemous to say like Obama. You mean the president who got us into all these LGBTQ marriage deals and kind of really jacked up the economy and said he was going to do everything for black people. The same thing that, Trump maybe have said for the war, but never delivered for black people or culture at all. He was the black face of just the same regime that happened. And that's the problem, though, is I actually have more praise for Trump, and despite like if there's going to be pushback, I'm ready for it. Here's the thing, though. I have a conspiracy theory that I'm going to roll out from the gate. I know it's really early. We're 8 minutes into this podcast already. I'm just going to roll this out. If you guys would kind of like entertain us for a bit. Here's my conspiracy theory. Well, two things. I'll preface it by saying this. I don't think that this was avoidable. I don't think it was avoidable, absolutely avoidable. I think that this war would have happened in the next administration or the one after that. It would have happened at some point. Would we agree on that point at least? Maybe halfway on that?
I would go even further and to say if Kamala was elected, the war would have happened regardless. Like it's unavoidable.
Okay, so hold on. Just hold that thought right here. So we would have been in this war regardless. It's just that you just don't like the lip service that you heard up front. at least say, hey, if we're going to go to war, say, you know what, there's probably a strong chance. Like, let's say Trump had said, there's probably a high probability we might go to war, but I'm going to try my best to not get us into war. Would you have the same feeling that you have right now?
Yeah, because what I really don't like is when Trump said,
Really?
I'm the pro-peace candidate that, no, I would actually have a different feeling. If he was more honest about putting us in
that's what I mean.
I would have had more respect versus him saying, oh, I'm the pro-peace candidate. We're not going to be in no new wars. Ukraine war is going to end in 24 hours. We're not going to have war with Iran. And then when he gets in, he's just like, oh, we got to stop Iran from obtaining nukes. War with Iran, guys. And I'm like, bro, why would you do that? Like, why would you tell us you're not going to put us in wars and then put us nothing with wars?
Well, put it like this. It's almost unavoidable, and you can't make an absolute statement like that. Like, we're not going to go to war. Look at what we did to Maduro. We took him out of his own damn country, kidnapped the dude and took him out. I mean, we didn't off the guy. We took him, and we could have taken his gas. We could have taken all the fuel, but we were actually benevolent as a nation. So to say that and go through all that and then not go through war is crazy. We should have been in war to some degree, but we didn't. I think Trump was just delaying the inevitable as much as he could. But like you admitted by your own mouth, we would have been in this conflict either the next administration or if you voted the other way. So, I mean, you're just upset that you got the lip service that you got and it just wasn't promised and delivered. That's what you're mainly upset about, or what?
Yeah, I'm mainly upset about it. And also, I'm upset with the fact it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. I'm just upset with all the administrations that basically doing Israel's bidding and doing service for a foreign country that doesn't even like us, that hates us, because they want to say, oh, Iran kills Christians and they don't have religious freedom. But it's like, Israel spits on Christians and does the same thing and are literally vandalizing Christian statues and destroying shit in Lebanon. So it's like we're literally taking a side of two evil just to fight another evil.
Well, hold on. I have to push back a little bit, Triton. Forgive me if I don't call you Lord. I'm just going to call you Triton.
No, you're good. You're good. You call me whatever you like.
No, you don't want me to call you whatever I like. You mean I could just make some shit up on the spot, bro? It's like, don't ever tell.
I'm not sensitive.
Don't ever tell a black guy just to call you shit, whatever he feels like, because you're gonna have 50 names by the time of this podcast, depending on how this conversation goes. Nah, let's keep it consistent. I'll call you Triton. So here's the thing, though. Going on with this, here's my issue. My main issue is it's about mitigation. How much can you mitigate? If the worst possible scenario is going to happen, Christians would have been slaughtered more under liberal regime. Do you think that the Christians or anybody else that would have thought Christian-minded would have ever said that Christophobia would have been a thing? Because I guarantee you, under liberal administration, they would have never said that there's a such thing as Christian hate. Trump did that. He actually passed legislation saying that Christophobia is a thing and happens. And then not to mention that, the guy literally sent people to Nigeria, what is it, special forces, to stop the massacring of Christians. I guarantee you that the liberal side, if we voted the other side, would have never done that. Well, that's their problem. As long as they're not over it, we would have heard that. So granted, I'll agree with you that yes, there's going to be infiltration by the Jays. Things like this is going to happen. But I think it would have been decreased and the provocation would have been less towards Christian deaths. That's the plea that I'm making here.
And that's the thing. It's like I do agree, like under liberal, like that's the thing. My stance is I'm not with the liberals at all. I'm just mainly criticizing the Republicans because I feel like the Republicans could do a lot better than what they're doing right now. And I feel like the Republicans could put America first a lot more. And I feel like Trump just doing all this and messing up the Iran war is going to hurt the midterms and going to hurt 2028 and actually give the Democrats a chance to put in Newsom and basically spread all this propaganda about Trump. And that's what I don't want. I don't want Trump fucking up this Iran war to the point where it pisses off Americans so that liberals could come in and basically censor free speech even more because Trump fucked up with this whole Iran war because he wanted to please the Jews.
Well,
I am on the stance where I don't want liberals running on government at all, and I've always been critical of the left, and I will continue to be critical of the left. It's just you got to criticize the right too, even if you're on the right side. Like, you still got to criticize them whenever like they're fucking up, because whenever they fuck up, people immediately think, "Oh, we got to go with the libtards. We got to go side with these people because Trump's fucking up on the war."
Yeah, I see that. So here's my thing, though. I would be wary of contradictions. Like you're kind of almost at the cusp of making one, because earlier in the conversation, you had made a statement saying it doesn't matter which side you vote for. The Jays are going to be in this, all this. And then you make the distinction now. You're saying, well, no, I would never vote Democrat, which implies that there's a difference between the two.
Well, not really, because me, it's like I'm actually getting to the point where I'm not going to vote for either. Like until we have like a Republican or Democrat that puts America first, I don't want to vote for either, because I'm getting to that point where I'm so pissed off with Republicans because I don't feel like they're putting America first either, just like the Democrats. Because Democrats, they definitely don't put America first, but I feel like Republicans are going that same direction, making the other side not good like the Democrats, and makes you just want to not vote at all or vote third party or wait until a Republican comes in and challenges the GOP like Trump 2016 did. Because Trump 2016, he came and challenged the GOP. He challenged Jeb Bush. He challenged Evan McMullin, Marco Rubio, and all the mainstream Republicans. And I feel like in 2028, we need a Trump 2016. But however, we need someone that would be better, that actually doesn't sell out to the Jays, that will actually sacrifice everything to put America first, even if it's, the cost of basically being infiltrated or being blackmailed by the Jays, because we need someone that will fight the establishment hard and actually do whatever it takes to win.
There's a whole lot here. There's a whole lot to unpack.
I do apologize. It's just I'm passionate about it, so it's a lot.
I have decent recall, which means I can like part and parcel and categorize things that you just said and put them in piece by piece, because I do debates often. I don't know if you watch my content.
I'll watch it sometimes. Like I watched that one Muslim where he's like advocating for like underage. It's like, bro, that's fucking.
Oh, that guy got just annihilated.
He got destroyed. You destroyed him. You basically owned him like he was your bitch.
Yeah, I told him, remember the debate, real quick, just sidebar. Remember I told him, I told him, are you going to promote with the age of consent being 8 years old, 8-year-old inbred dating people on the marketplace that you want a cream pie, something like that. The crickets after that.
I remember. He didn't even say anything about that. He didn't even know what to say, because he knew that he was fucking on a losing argument.
He was cooked. So back to this. There's a lot to unpack with this. I don't think that there's any way, because you're talking about what I'm referring to is like mitigating. We have to mitigate the damage or what's going to happen. Meaning, like, if I vote for this candidate, you're either way, because here's the thing that you have to reconcile. And I'll ask you a question. Name one time that an independent party ever won.
Oh, none. And I'm not even saying independent. I'm just saying.
So you're saying if I'm not voting for either side, you have to kind of pick. Because here's the thing, though, because of the odds of an independent never winning, you're going to have to be. And I hate to say this, like the lesser of two evils. The reason why I'll constantly fight against the left, I'll never, no matter I don't mean like an absolute, no matter how bad the right sounds, they'll always be less bad than any Democrat that gets in office. And I'll tell you why. There will be more deaths, U.S. deaths, and people don't ever talk about this. There will be more U.S. deaths under Democratic administration more than anything else, because Planned Parenthood, how many deaths do we have? More baby AB deaths in human history than there have been American deaths. That's also another G side that's happening right now, amongst other wars, that what we're doing is we're not having them. So here's the thing I'll tell you right now. Maybe it is the case that we should have went to Iran. Not that I'm promoting it, but maybe I'm saying that this will happen, because, like, let's say that me and Jim are going to fight. I see Jim on the street and I know that this fight's inevitable. So I go up to him and I start a fight because I want to get it out of the way. Just think, if I was waiting, dreading this day to happen, anxiety would have killed my whole day. Everything would else been shot to shit. But instead, what I did was I took action and knew that the inevitable was going to happen. Me and Jim got in a fight, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, got it over with. Now I have the rest of my fucking day. So I would put in perspective, like, if the inevitable is going to happen, this Iran war is going to happen, I would actually go with the person that, if it's inevitable, at least there's going to be less deaths under this administration, whether or not it's through Planned Parenthood and then sending boots on the ground, everything else. There would have been more boots on the ground with the other administration. That's an argument I make, even though I can't like reconcile how I'd make that plausible. But because they're the party that's interested in more deaths, they have more deaths under their administration than a Republican party. That historically, that's accurate too. That's what would have happened.
Yeah, but I think we should have waited till Iran attacked us first, and here's why. Because if Iran were to attack us first and we didn't start the war, all of NATO, just like with Libya, when we were attacked by Libya, all of NATO would have helped us cook Iran easily, and we would spend less money, and we would easily collapse the regime like our goal is to intent. But now, because we attacked first with Israel, and Israel started the war, NATO doesn't want to get involved, and NATO's rules are if you attack first, we don't get involved. We only get involved if you get attacked, and that's why NATO's not helping us. And I feel like it would have been better if we waited till Iran attacked us. So then we have NATO, Gulf countries, and all these countries going at Iran, and Iran would have no way out. They can't even go rely on China and Russia because China and Russia would be scared because it's all of NATO versus one country. And I feel like it would have been better for us if we would have waited until Iran attacked us so we can actually commit to the goal that we're achieving, because their goal is to collapse the regime, and right now the regime is not collapsed.
So I'll ask you a question real quick, because I'm very curious where your mindset's at and where your thinking is with this, because we're talking to an audience, my audience, your audience, Jim's audience. I'll ask you this right now. Do you think that we would have been less of a global hegemon if we would have had NATO participate with us or not participate with us? Do you think that would have mattered?
I think it would have mattered in terms of collapsing the regime, because the goal is to completely collapse the regime. And without NATO's help, as you can see, the regime is still intact. The regime is still there. And if the regime is a big threat, you would want to do whatever it takes to get rid of this regime.
You think NATO would have helped us to just crush the regime and this would have been over with quick? Do you think that that's probably what would have happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think it would have been quicker if Iran attacked us and all of NATO and the Gulf countries all teamed up in self-defense, because you can make a better case on getting their help with self-defense versus attacking first.
Well, here's the problem, though. I'm a de-escalation person. That's what I am. So if I know the inevitable is going to happen, meanwhile, like, money's being siphoned. We're already paying Israel how much money already anyway? So it's like, bro, you owe us money anyway. Like, it's like, of course I'm going to hit you in the throat sometimes and do this, de-escalate things already. But I think the opposite. I think that that wouldn't have affected us at a global, like, a position as far as being a global hegemon. We wouldn't have been greater or lesser with or without NATO. We still would have been the big brother on the block, the big boss on the block, and that's what would have happened. Of course, we're looked at as the bully nation, but I don't think that would have happened. I think the real issue people have is optics. It would have, and here's what I'm not saying that you're making this statement right now, but what I hear from a lot of people is, it looks bad. It would have looked better if NATO was involved. It looks worse because it's not self-defense. I think it's more of an optics issue than an issue of where we're at, because I don't think we would have been less of a global hegemon with or without NATO. That's just my opinion.
For me, it's not about optics. The reason I'm making the NATO argument, because for us, it's like we want to get the goal. We want to achieve the goal. And it doesn't matter about optics. Is if we want this regime gone because the regime is a threat, it doesn't matter how we look. You want to take the easiest way to destroy the regime so they can't build a nuclear bomb. And I feel like the Iranian regime would have collapsed way easier if we would have had NATO. And it would have been like Libya, where the government's just completely collapsed. Gas prices wouldn't be as high, and it would basically help the country more if we would have just done it in self-defense, because then more allies would want to join the war, versus now where the regime is still there and we're potentially about to lose the war, because the goal of the war is to collapse the regime, but yet the regime is still there because we can't collapse it without nuking them. And I feel like with NATO involved, on my last point, then I'll let you rebuttal. I feel like with NATO, we would have easily collapsed the regime, and we wouldn't even be talking about nuking Iran. So then people can't criticize Trump and say, you want to kill the entire civilization. Trump wouldn't even make that statement, because NATO would have fully joined in and be like, hey, we're with you because Iran broke our rules because they attacked you first. So that's my whole argument with that, is we would have easily collapsed the regime if we would have had NATO's help.
I don't think, and here's why because I'll question your logic real quick. Can you name more than two regimes or more than one regime we've ever collapsed?
I mean, the Libyan regime is one of them.
All right, waiting on two.
All right, so Jaffe's regime is one with NATO, and The Venezuelan regime, Nick Maduro's regime, but that's like that was like
they got somebody else replacing, and then that's the thing though. We get jackals that come into other countries and do deals, and we throw coups and stuff. The regime is just there, it's just with a different face. Would you not agree with that?
Mm-hmm. And I feel like too.
How many true collapses of regimes have we ever had?
Not really much at all, and that's why I'm against the war entirely. It's just I bring up the whole NATO thing. It's like if you're gonna do the war, you better at least like have the best like option, because now it's like it's still worse now because we're losing more money and the UAE's being hit really hard right now, and we can barely defend and intercept the missiles because the oil reserves are being hit and it's damaging our oil reserves. And I feel like if we would have just waited and have to self-defense, I feel like NATO would be helping intercept these missiles, but they're not, because technically we did start the war, and that's why NATO's not helping intercept these missiles on the oil reserves. I personally am against the war entirely because, like you said, no regime has been collapsed, and we're trying to do regime change war, but it's like if we can't even collapse,
we can't collapse a regime.
Yeah, exactly. And if we can't collapse,
you got to walk that back a little bit. Right. I'm sorry, but you got to kind of walk it back a little bit, since you're saying that. So it was to collapse a regime.
And that's what Trump did. That's what he pushed.
It wouldn't have happened by your own admission. You're saying that it wouldn't happen anyway.
No, that's why I'm against the war. I'm just saying, like, with NATO, it would have been easier. Right. But I'm against the war because the regime collapse would not happen at all. And that's my argument. It's like the regime collapse is not going to happen at all. It's like, why are we going to fight a war where we know that this regime is going to literally die for the cause? And I feel like Trump putting us in the war is just a trap for us to basically look bad. And now that's the thing, we're losing this war. Now China's going to be like, oh, look, the American empire, they're not as strong. So now we get to go invade Taiwan. And they're actually invading Taiwan with because they're trying to push the pro-American candidate out, and they're putting their little communist puppet in Taiwan. They're basically, while America's distracted with Iran, they're basically pushing Chinese propaganda to Taiwan and trying to rig the election to get Taiwan back under Chinese control without even firing a shot. And I feel like we need to focus on making America great instead of just putting us in this regime change war that is not going to happen. Like, I feel like this regime is not going to collapse, and I feel like we should not be in this war in the first place.
So two things. You and I have already reconciled that the regime would have been collapsed with or without NATO. So that's another thing. So I'm just saying right now, that's why I think it's purely just optics and how we look, because you said this twice. You said we wouldn't have looked as bad. That's an optics gesture that you're making semantically. So, and then moving forward with this, here's the other thing too. I'll tell you this right now. It's funny because when the big bully is walking towards school and there's a bunch of kids and he kind of, or let's go to prison. There's prison and the guy automatically comes into prison and punches the big guy in the throat. Nobody fucks with him, but they can turn around and say, that's the bad guy. Put him in solitary confinement. He shouldn't have did this or whatever. What would have happened if he never punched that big guy in the throat and dropped his soap in shower number 6, right? The opposite would have happened. Sometimes we need to, that is a form of de-escalation. It's going into conflict sometimes and resolving this, letting people know that we aren't the weak people in the nation, in the world, that we aren't the weak nation. I think it's the opposite that happens sometimes when we come here. We need a set of precedents unless we do this and say no, because trust me, the Biden administration would have never put their foot down. They would have kept Obama, suitcases of trillions of dollars to Iran. We never saw any accounting for this or got anything in return. They would have kept doing this. But Trump, nope, we're not going to budge. We're going to not fund Iran. We're not going to, granted, maybe the Jays got money out of this. Maybe they're still getting money in this. But I think it would have still been a reducing of this happening. That's what I'm saying. There's a reduction in the Trump administration. We're mitigating.
But do you think we could have avoided this more if we restrained Israel a little bit? Because you got to understand, it's like Israel's the main aggressors with this. Iran's being aggressive too, but it's like we've been kind of unfair in the negotiations where we're just favoring Israel and basically putting restrictions on Iran, saying no nuclear weapons for you, no missiles, no that. But then Israel can have uranium and all that, and that's why Iran's not budging, because Iran's like, wait a minute. You're telling us we can't have all this, but you're letting Israel, the enemy, the one that's threatening us, have it. And I feel like that's why Iran is not wanting to have peace with us, because we're not restraining Israel enough. And I feel like we should restrain Israel a little bit, be like, hey, you got to understand, if we make a peace deal with Iran and Iran makes a peace deal, you cannot ever attack Iran. And if you do, we will end foreign aid. And I feel like that's the thing. If Iran agrees with the peace deal, Israel cannot escalate with Iran in the future. And I feel like we should be doing that. We should at least restrict Israel and obviously restrain Iran, of course, because Iran shouldn't be having nuclear weapons. But I don't think Israel should be having those weapons either, because Israel, just like Iran, likes to fight with all of its neighbors. And I feel like, a lot of this conflict will be avoidable if we restrain both sides, including Israel.
Now, I'm with you on that front in regard when we talk about us. And I'm not a Zionist by any regard. I'm anti-Zionist. The worst people that we have to deal with are Christian Zionists, Christians that promote Israel all day long. I am not one of those Christians. I'm one of the Christians that will say, you know what? And this might sound very mean of me to say this. I think that we should pull out altogether. The only thing that we should do is make sure that Israel, if we can, in Iran doesn't have nukes, let the sand people fight it out. Let them take care of their own shit, because we got so much issues and problems, and our nation's destabilizing with immigration problems already by itself. We already have the enemy within coming in, and that's not even speculating sleeper cells or any of that shit. The immigration problem is wrecking our country so bad, in the liberal majority in this nation. It's wrecking our country so bad from the previous administration. We have to fix our mess, that now the whole war is a distraction from our own problems. I'll say that. Maybe you agree with me, maybe not, but that's my stance on this issue when it comes to Zionism.
Yeah, because I feel like we need to be focusing more on our own issues instead of focusing on pleasing these Zionists, because that's the thing. Because I also voted for mass deportations, and we were getting that in the beginning of the administration, but then when all the ICE raids happened and all the protesters happened, Trump and the administration kind of cowered to the left. It was like, you know what? We're only going to go after violent criminals, and we're not going to do mass deportations anymore. And I feel like it doesn't matter if someone is illegal in the country, we need to deport them all. And I feel like we also need to arrest all those radical leftists assaulting ICE, hitting ICE, and all that. We shouldn't be bowing to those kind of people. We shouldn't just say, oh, we're going to go after violent criminals. Like, no, we're going after all. And if you don't like it and you try to assault ICE officers, we're coming for you too. We're going to arrest you, because ICE officers should not be assaulted. Liberals are one of the greatest terrorists we have in our nation. To be honest with you, there's a lot. I'm going to have a show called Woke Autopsy coming. I said I was dead, but I'm going to bring it back. We have a guest coming on, and we're going to talk about the white hatred that's happening in the nation. I don't know what you identify as in, but I'm obviously not a white person. What's happening right now in America is there's this whole white guilt, white hate, and all this. What we're doing is we're feeling sympathy toward anybody that's brown coming in our borders, and we're telling white people, and I'm making a general statement, that if you walk in your house and you find somebody on your couch, as long as they didn't steal while in your house, there's nothing wrong with them being in your house. How fucked up is this situation where you could just allow people in your house to trespass, which is a crime? You could say, well, it's a misdemeanor, all this other shit. It's not as bad as you think it is, because at least they didn't steal while you were in your house. They're in my fucking house. Nobody let them in the front door, but it's like the white person, and I'm speaking for the majority of people out here, from what I see, this is my own two eyeballs watching this, they can't tell brown people no, because for some reason that hints at some racial disparity that people have in racism when you tell people to get out of your country. And it sounds like people are trying to fight for just a white populist pure country. And that's what the liberal left wants us to think. But going back to the war, it's the same thing. The liberals will tell you, no, they're brown people, they should be in peace and this and that. No, the crazy thing about Caucasian people and white people, and there's one good thing that black people do that they're really good at, and not black people, and I'm talking about the culture, brown people, they're really good at destroying white people built shit. To be honest with you, this could be societies, infrastructure, everything else. We need to get a hold of our immigration problem, and this war is such a issue with bleeding out funds. We're wasting funds, manpower, boots on the ground. We could be bleeding out soldiers' lives, all this other shit just for this stupid war that we're in. And I'm against it just as much as you are. I know I said a lot. No, that's all. It's all good. Like, you've made a lot of good points, because that's the thing. Because you also asked like what I identify on the issue, and I'm actually like a Goiper, like, because I support mass mass deportations, and I'm also like noticing a lot of the white genocide, because guess what? all these people getting H-4B visas, replacing white people, and white people are becoming a minority in this country. And a lot of people say, oh, that's racist. No, that's not racist. It's just factual. If you open your fucking eyes, you can see that America is a white country that's becoming minority. Like, we're all white people are literally becoming a minority. I'm seeing more and more Hispanics, more and more. Like, in fact, Dallas is being flooded by Indians, Houston's being flooded by Hispanics. Like, all these big cities are being flooded by immigrants and migrants and migrant workers.
I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm not going to say America's a white country. I'm just going to say it's a country. And the problem with this country is if you look around the world, any country that's populated by white European people has aerospace, innovation, engineering, society, cleaner streets. If you take Africa, this is my theory, and I know we're going on a side tangent here, and you give Africa to European settlers and white people, guess what's going to happen? Shit will be built, shit will be maintained, things will get cleaned up, the AIDS epidemic will reduce. And I know this is very controversial for me to say, and I know Zinga Harris is in the chat. By the way, Woke Autopsy, I got pulled back into this episode. We're going to have Luigi on. Hopefully nobody knows what I'm talking about. So he'll be in the next episode with another controversial guest, and this is the topic we're discussing. But anyways, back to this. The problem with this too is anytime you tell the liberal media, hey, we need to pull out of this war, they'll agree with you. They'll say, yeah, because Trump is bad. Here's the thing about Trump's regime right now. If you tell anybody, and this is my speculation, if you tell anybody that you have to vote for Mustache Man, the Austrian painter. You know who I'm talking about, the guy who I can't name on Twitter because of TOS. You have to either vote for him or Trump. I believe the liberals will vote for Mustache Man over Trump. That's how bad it is right now. And that's how bad the image is right now. So it's like you can't tell liberals anything because they're maniacal lunatics. So that's why I will never be on their side. They're literally voting for immigrants to come in and massacre white people in our nation and other sovereign individuals, people that aren't creating felonies, injustices, crime, tearing down their neighborhoods. For what? We have a mayor Brandon Johnson who's anti-white propaganda the whole time, and then Mom Dami in New York is the same way. Like, our nation is falling apart. We have so much cancerous individuals in office right now, yet we're focused on this war in Iran right now. It's just crazy. And I don't think that we all have the scoop and we know what's being discussed behind the Oval Office doors. Like, we don't have the full picture, but we have enough to say we don't want this war. Like, nobody wants the gas prices. Nobody wants any of this stuff. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. It's like, I feel like the only reason we're even in this war is because Trump is literally allied himself with the neocons, people like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, and all these people. And a lot of these people that he's aligned with himself now, they were never Trumpers in 2016 when it was the most important time to vote for Trump and praise Trump. The people that were advising this war and suggesting this war to Trump directly, they were all never Trumpers. And the people that were against the war, like Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, whatever you may think about those individuals, I don't know your opinions on them, but they were for Trump since 2016 when it actually mattered. And it seems like Trump is just listening to the neocons that were with the left when it was important. And that's also why I don't like the war, because it's like you're literally listening to neocons that rather want you destroyed and want you to be their bitch instead of you actually being a leader. They don't care. But in fact, they hated you when it was important. They hated you when you actually did good. They hated you when you needed them the most. Because in 2016, he was attacked by everybody and all these people piled on. But now that he's the president's second term and all these people are being nice to him, all of a sudden he's wanting praises from the mainstream neocons over the people that actually supported him since 2016. And it's just like, bro, you need to listen to the people that were with you since day fucking one. You need to listen to the people like Tucker Carlson, Nicholas J. Fuentes, Alex Jones, people that were with you since 2016, especially people like Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson. They were with Trump since the beginning. And they've always
Fuentes kind of flip-flop a little bit.
They still won't criticize Trump, but go ahead.
Well, Fuentes kind of flip-flop a little bit towards the end from what I hear. And here's the other thing I'll say right now.
Yeah, no, he did.
You have to be consistent in your belief system or ideology. The worst thing that I hate, like Lord Triton, I'll even tell you right now, I'll hate your ideology and maybe close to you as a person if you are a fence sitter. The worst thing I hate in the world is people who sit on the fence. They can't pick a side because Judas stabbed Jesus in the back because he was indecisive at one point. I think that when you have people in your camp and don't have an identifier, meaning they don't have an allegiance, and they feel like, well, we're going to be with whoever's the greatest hope, and then that's it. Like, I get that. I can get that. But here's the thing, though. I have to look at something that's consistent over a period of time with parties. For instance, the Republicans have been anti-Planned Parenthood mostly for as long as I can remember, pro-family values and conservative values and things like this, or leaning towards that more consistently since I can remember. Liberals flip-flop and they'll say everything else. And that's the crazy thing about this too, is it's like a lot of and I'm in the dating market, and I'm going to kind of conflate these things, but I'm going to piece it together in the end. A lot of women who are liberals will say, where's my liberal boyfriend? You know, I can't find my liberal boyfriend. Just like the nation, you might want to look in the women's bathroom because he might be in there. They don't have an identity right now. So if you look in the middle, you're going to find nothing but a bunch of Judas backstabbers. So if you look at the trends of people who will say, well, I'm a never Trumper now I'm Trump and this and that, that person is disloyal, untrustworthy, and they're a chameleon. That's literally what they are. They're a chameleon. I've been Trump for a very long time, but I remember when I turned Trump, I was one of these people that got blackwashed into the cultural divide, into liking liberalism. But that's because black culture told me you have to like this because on the opposite, they have racists and KKK and all this on the Republican side. I believe this. There's so much brainwashing that happens. But once you get out of the other side and you got red pilled to this ideology, you change your mind. That's why I'm fighting black culture. That's why I'm anti this war right now and anti the Jays. That's why I think, and I'm going to jump over to Florida with Dan Bilzerian right now. Matter of fact, I love Dan talking about this. I don't know if you hear this often, but his running when he's talking about this and against the Jays and your current governor right now, that's very Jay friendly and leaning towards that ideology. He wants to demolish that. I'm not in Florida, but I'll vote for him because of this. We need more of that in this nation. That's just my opinion on that. And I think that we need to become less Zionist as a nation and go back to more of a Christian fundamentalist mindset as far as nationally. Yeah.
Which I actually do live in that same district where Dan Bilzerian is running. And the problem with that is like Dan Bilzerian, there's a lot of stuff I do agree with, but there is someone that literally like has been fighting Randy Fine since the beginning. I actually interviewed him. His name is Aaron Baker. And I feel like Dan Bilzerian's coming into this district, splitting the vote because it's already an America First guy. And my only criticism to Dan is I think either Dan or Aaron, one of them needs to like work it out because they're both on the same side. They're watering the vote down.
You're saying they're watering the vote down.
Yeah, they're watering the vote down by being against each other. And I've actually been talking with Jake Shields, like Dan Bilzerian's best friend, and trying to get Dan Bilzerian and Aaron Baker to actually have a conversation about it because they're watering the vote because there's people that still support Aaron that think Dan's a Fed, and then there's Dan Bilzerian people that think Aaron Baker's a Fed. It's like none of them are Feds. They just had the they're literally calling each other Feds and like not them directly, but the fans, like the fans and supporters are like, Aaron Baker, he works for the Jews. Oh, wait, no. Dan Bilzerian works for the Jays. It's like, you guys are the same fucking side. Can y'all just one of y'all go run a different district and both win and both endorse each other and both be on the same fucking side so Randy Fine doesn't win? I live in that district. I don't want Randy Fine again because if Randy Fine stays, he's literally going to go after people like myself because he's already making a bill that's going to put people in jail for 5 years for just holding a fuck Israel sign. It's like, bro. That is literally so like against free speech.
Insane.
And that's why I really want Dan Bilzerian and Aaron Baker to work together and not water the vote and not fuck around because them fucking around is fucking over the vote. It's going to give people like Randy Fine the W. And that's not what I want to see on August 18th. I don't want Randy Fine to win because Dan Bilzerian and Aaron Baker are fighting for the America First position and splitting up the America First people. The America First people need to be on the same side because this is an important election, especially in the midterms, because we need more America First Republicans. And if we want to continue 2028, we need people like Dan Blizerain. We need to get rid of people like Randy Fine so we can actually save the House and so we can actually get people to not veer away from Republicans.
So speaking of Florida, because you're there, how far, like, I don't know, do you know where James Fishback is? Because he's in Florida. I support a message that he's talking about. Have you heard of it?
We heard of what again?
His name's James Fishback.
Oh, no, I've heard of him. In fact, I went to 3 of his events.
He's proposing a 50% sin tax on income earned by OnlyFans workers in Florida. And I fully support that. I think more Republicans need to be on board with this message and be against OnlyFans and degeneracy, because I'm telling you right now, what it's going to do is it's going to fuck up the dating market right now to where it's like you have unmarriageable women on the dating market. Because what's happening is, I sat down and talked with somebody recently. Of course, this guy, we'll call him Mike. He pulled up in a Lambo. We were going to have coffee. And when we were talking, the whole thing of OF came up. And he said he was in a meeting adjacent to another meeting. And he knows some of the people who have their hands in OF because the recent OF person who was a J passed away, right? So now there's these other people with their hands in the pot. And guess what? The less than 2% OF workers that work for OnlyFans, they're banging the owners. These people that are the top 2% of OnlyFans are banging the owners, meaning they're in a different slavery class. This is the dating market that we're releasing that women are looking up to, and they're following suit, knowing that the maximum that somebody makes on the low end sometimes is up to $280 a month. That's it to destroy their reputation, careers moving forward, and everything else. So with Florida making new legislation, I support James in this proposition he's making, but I think that we need to have this mindset because, and I'll say this right now, like I'll tell my opponents, like in Iran, if there's people in Iran that listen to this podcast, like I'm telling you right now, they'd be wasting their money if they try to bomb the U.S. What are you going to do? Bomb Florida? You might as well bomb Cuba. What are you going to do? Bomb L.A.? All you're going to do is relieve us of our homeless problem. You're going to bomb Chicago? Oh, now you just eliminated 50% of the crime in our nation. It's like you're helping us out if you do this to some degree. That's how bad our nation's doing right now, that if they bomb us, they'd be helping us out. That is why I don't think that we should be involved in this war as much as possible, because let me tell you this right now. As much as I don't want to be in this war, I do think it was inevitable. It would have been either in the next administration or the one after that. The best thing is we can do at this point is to hopefully mitigate the bodies and mitigate the disaster while trying to maintain our own nation's control over itself. And the deportations, I voted for that. That's happening right now. And matter of fact, there's less coming in than more going out, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I actually do support. That's one of the reasons why I am voting for James Fishback on August 18th, because he's putting the tax on OnlyFans whores. And that's the thing. Like James Fishback says, it's literally just destroying young females' minds by just being obsessed with OnlyFans, and it's literally ridiculing women. It's ruining a lot of relationships. It's making women want to cheat for money. And I feel like we need to get rid of OnlyFans. Not only that, but OnlyFans. That's the thing. It's literally there to just hurt people for just so the owners can make profits themselves. So I feel like they should definitely be taxed. I would go further and say just shut the fuck down. So they're lucky that James, because if it was me running for governor, I would have gone further than James Fishback. They're lucky that James Fishback's just taxing them a little bit. Me, I'd be like, no. I don't need your money. I want you gone, motherfucker. I want you out. That I would have gone further.
You know what I would have said if I had proposed legislation I was running? I would have said pornography is not freedom of speech. Shut it down. They would have fought me on this. Nope, it is not an art. What it is anytime you have prostitution, as long as you bring a camera, it's legal. How stupid is that? Matter of fact, not only are we banning this, but we're bringing back decency laws, bitch. Like, that's what I would have told him. And then not to mention this, but I would have said, not only is this going to increase the birth rate, because that's what's going to happen, because the people are not trying to get their hand pregnant at home. They're going to be trying to get somebody else pregnant. And what happens, though, is that's a nut not wasted. And I know it sounds very degenerate for me to say this right now, But there's a purpose for that. There's a purpose for sperm, and it's not supposed to go into napkins like 500 times a week because of digital images that somebody puts online for $5.99 selling their butthole. Like, to me, that's not good. We don't need that in our nation. And all that is just a baby deletion in a napkin. To me, I know it's not a complete embryo, and the biological science is wrong on this for me to kind of mischaracterize it like this, but it's the same thing. It has a purpose. And when we destroy that purpose, we're destroying the potential for babies to be even happening. And matter of fact, Lord Triton, I'll even go as far as this. I'm single right now, and I'm on the dating market right now. What are the chances, Lord Triton, that my wife was deleted at Planned Parenthood and I just never knew about this? You mean I could have had a wife, but she got deleted in a Planned Parenthood? That's probably what happened to a lot of people. You would have been married if you didn't have that abortion. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's just ways to like ruin the dating market. And that's why I support James Fishback taxing the fuck out of OnlyFans. And like I said, I would have gone further and fucking banned the whole thing. And there's also like other things that support James Fishback too, mainly the down payment system where he's going to take the $385 million from Israel, bring it back here, and put it for young married couples, just so young married couples can actually have the courage to have kids and have affordable housing. And I feel like that's actually really good for the state of Florida, because the other candidates, Byron and Jay Collins, they don't want to do that. In fact, they want the $385 million to stay in Israel. And that's also why it's just like, I feel like the primary election is definitely important. And I definitely really hope James Fishback takes it and is the Republican nominee.
Well, going into Fishback, I mean, this is what it says right now. The revenue usage, because, of course, if we're going to be taxing the money, where's it going? This is what he says. He proposed that the estimated $200 million in revenue would be used to raise teacher pay, improve school lunches, and fund crisis pregnancy centers. To me, I'm thinking that's kind of the opposite. Now, I have my own opinions on public schooling. Well, I mean, at least it's not a total net loss, but that's the thing, though. Funding crisis pregnancy centers is good, because as long as it's not like, Planned Parenthood, things like this, and it has to go towards something else that's going to fundamentally change the upbringing of children in our nation, or geared toward having nuclear families in some regard, because you are doing this when you're destroying OnlyFans and sex workers. What you're doing, let's be honest here, what you're doing is destroying prostitution. That's what we're doing. All it is prostitution. Anytime I can bring a camera anywhere, and now all of a sudden it's pornography and it's legal. You mean to tell me if I go in the back alley with somebody and pay $5 as long as there's a camera recording and I say I'm a producer, it's like that's such BS red tape in gray area. So it's like every form of degeneracy is legal because of this. And it's like the dumbest shit in the world. We need to have black and white laws. We need to have decency laws come back. And we need to promote this through the $200, a part of this, through a campaign, through promotional propagandization of saying, hey, listen, nuclear family is good again. Even new movies, when we have this, don't show the single mom in a movie being strong and empowered anymore. Show a dad at home with a mom working together to create a family because they're fighting some cataclysm that's happening in this new movie together as a family. Instead of the strong single woman fighting, the world and all this in movies, we need to change the status quo of our nation through propagandization, through legislation, and use our tax dollars in this funding to good use.
Yeah, what's up, Jim?
I'm sorry to cut in, but he's got really, really, really good points. I love it. I fucking love it. Okay, so my big thing is I know I have a joke PFP and a profile and stuff.
Epstein is crazy though, but go ahead.
but in any case, but OF, I literally made a dot caption in Discord for it, and it was I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, it was the guy that was on the show. It was like some show back in the day, and he's like, "Oh no," and he like turns and he's a British guy, and he's like anyways, and he goes back to what he was doing. And that was, and the caption is when the owner of OnlyFans dies and OnlyFans is on the verge of collapsing. Oh no. Anyways.
Yeah, I think somebody else is going to pick up the ball. Like, remember when we talked about destroying regimes? Here's the thing, though. The OnlyFans is a semblance of like what we call like a construct of a regime, if even that, right? I think that when the head of this company dies and somebody passes on, there's like 5 people waiting to fill this position or role. And that's where these people came in and put their hands in the company. And I had this conversation with this gentleman that we'll call Mike. And that's how I found out that the owners are banging the top 2% of the people these women that are making money. Because obviously the majority of them are single. They're not going to make money because we all know that the more money women make, the less people that they have in their dating pool, and it shrinks around them because they don't want to date some. Look, if a woman's making $100,000 a year, you're broke if you're making 70K around them, even though 70K, you could live on that. But it's just you're going to be broke the more money a woman makes. So granted, these women, of course, they're going to be single. But guess what they need to do? Make master happy and bang master. And that's what's happening right now. All that's doing is perpetuating a new slavery class that women are going to be worshiping because maybe I can be the 1% too. Crazy work here that they're doing. And yes, I do agree that the whole, oh no, oh yes, like the Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah, that's what I would say. I bust through walls and say, oh yeah, OnlyFans is being destroyed. If we can find a way to just demonize it and then create legislation to create decency laws against this, that'll be good. Because just chopping off one head of the 7-headed dragon isn't going to work, because whenever you take the CEO out, somebody's going to fill in the role, and we need to stop that. Basically, like what we said about the regimes being destroyed. Yeah, we take Maduro out, somebody's going to replace him. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, we need to just create laws and stop this instead of saying we're just going to temporarily cease it until somebody else takes over. That's what we need to do with sex work here in America. And I know we're like deviating a little bit, but I'm just saying that needs to happen.
So what are your thoughts on the new game Pragmata? I don't know if you play video games, but Pragmata and that whole bullshit surrounding it, how leftists are freaking out about the game and right wing are saying it's pedo bait because they're false, you know, and it's like all I can think of is like it's a dad simulator. It makes you want to have a child. It's not pedo bait. It's like the guy literally meets this android. She's an android, right? She's a child like android. And it's like she kind of just woke up from a dormant sleep, but it's like she's a newborn, kind of, not a newborn, but like a toddler age, right? And she's, you know, he gives her a name and he wants to protect her. And it's the maternal, you know, father instincts, right? And, you know, there'll be those heinous people on the internet, right? But it's like, me, when I seen that, and I seen the clips of the game, and
what's the name of the game called? Because I'm going to look it up just so I can be intellectually honest when I talk to you about it. What's the name of it again?
Pragmata.
Because I got some thoughts and opinions, but I just don't want to be off base when I talk. Okay, so there's like a little girl riding a robot's back, like a dog.
That's not a robot. That's a guy. That's a human dude.
Okay, so I mean, this looks like a dad having somebody like, it's like, this is what dads do anyways on the cover of this thing right here.
Yeah, that's basically what was Capcom doing. They're trying to instill, because if you don't know anything, but Japanese birth rates are down the fucking toilet.
Yeah, I just did a podcast about it last night. And not only this, you're talking about South Korea, Singapore, Asia, Japan, and then the United States is following suit. We're talking about a human extinction level event that's happening right now. Now, here's the thing. Without even knowing anything about Pragmata, and from what you told me, it makes sense, and it totally makes sense, and I'll tell you why. Think about it. Everything, like, remember, I don't know how when you were in high school, whatever, just think about this. The one girl that was pregnant in class, she got a little bit of shame. They were like, oh, you know, she's pregnant and, you know, she's by herself. Didn't get them out because there was a lot of shame that happened. They shamed a lot of that stuff. Now we have the opposite happening. Now you have mothers or people that want to be mothers say, I want to stay home while my man works, my husband works, as I create this home. She's being demonized for just doing that. And then instead of going out and being a boss lady and working and doing all this, instead of all outsourcing daycare to somebody else, she's doing this herself. She's being demonized. Oh, what? You want to be a slave underneath another another man. Shame is working the opposite way. So like this game, when I say this game, a guy wants to step up and take care of a child and do all this, they're naturally going to demonize everything good happening in society that leans towards things that we want. Meanwhile, sex is being praised. You're a boss lady if you don't need no man and all this. It's like we're opposite. It's like we're in bizarre world here, and that's what's happening right now. Politically, the same thing's happening right now. And the left is fueling and funding all this. That's why I don't care how bad things are, support Democratic policies or Democrats either.
Martae, okay, how old are you?
39.
Okay, so you're right around my age. So basically this is why we're agreeing on this. And you know what? You're cool as fuck, dude. Congrats. You impressed me.
I probably would have said some shit to piss you off, but I just been like, I don't care. I'm standing 10 toes down unless you can tell me some shit where it's like, okay, but I have to here's the thing though, people have to realize, like, I can be 10 toes down on the issue, but I have to at least be able to listen to where I can at least learn something or figure out my own position, because internally in my head, I'm fighting myself. And here's how. I want AB rates and baby deletion rates to go down by Planned Parenthood. But I also have to think about, well, what would be their justification for doing this? If you were a liberal, Martae, what would you do to justify this? Well, damn, I get more sex, and I have less responsibility. That's one less thing. And I have more free time without kids. I can think about things like this, and I can think about my own arguments and fight myself in my head. But that's how I can come up with these conclusions and be consistent about this, because I've already thought about what they're going to say about me. So on the political front, we have to think the same way too. Like, I have to think about the arguments they're going to use and how they and think in their position, why do they vote the way they do? Or why do they think that the way that freedom in the sexual revolution is absolute freedom? Okay, I can give you a lot of benefits. If I was to argue from real good.
That's the thing, and I sometimes have this issue with the same thing. Like, I'll come at it from a liberal perspective in my own head, and I'll be like, okay, so self-grandizing myself, but wait a minute. It leads to stuff like STDs and HIV and AIDS and shit like that, and more people you sleep with, the more it's gonna happen, and then and it's gonna basically make it so people that want people that are that haven't had a high body count, that'll be damn near impossible, and then I'm like, wait a minute, right-wing people are actually correct on this, like.
Well, yeah, that's true. But we always have to think about it from the other side. Like, you got to understand, I'm gonna let you both know that I was a Democrat for most of my life. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was a Democrat because I thought that everything that was Republican from the black community was racist against me and anti-black. And that's the only reason why I didn't vote Republican. But when you go outside the community and when you make more money, and I'll even tell you guys this right now, let's say that I'm in the black community and I love listening to Fetty Wap and I love listening to like everybody out there in Florida, Ace Hood, all these hip hop artists that are great coming up or whatever. Let's say I love that and I'm in that culture, right?
Yeah.
The first time I make $2 million going to the league or something like that, do you think I want to stay around black people and in the hood?
No.
Oh, shit. Okay, so guess what happens? I'm going to want to protect my investment, protect myself, and protect my future, because I know that crabs in the bucket is going to kill me if I don't off myself. And what's going to happen is I'm going to want to leave that. And once I get outside of this community, I'm not being called a coon anymore. I'm not called a Uncle Tom anymore or any of this other shit that my own community tells me. And I get out there and guess what happens? I start voting different. I start protecting my interest. I start doing, and people behave differently when they're put into different positions. And that's what I did. When I got into a different position, I'm a pro athlete in 2 different sports. Once this happened, my mindset slowly, gradually started changing. But the problem with this is we have a victim mindset that's perpetuating this nation right now that wants to put everybody else in this victim classes. That's why you see so many single moms out here right now. That's why feminism is running rampant right now. That's why we have so many people that are impoverished because they want to be. Literally, they want to be. If you tell them you want to be impoverished, they'll say, no, I don't. But hopefully that check comes in on the 5th. I'm like, bro, come on, bro. Like, it's like you don't want to be impoverished. But you're not doing anything to break free from the system because they constantly love to be in a community that tells them they're a victim because they constantly have to have a bad guy. If you don't have a bad guy, you don't have to work hard. If you don't have somebody that's a boss level opponent that you're up against, you don't have to do actual work, do anything merit-based system, or get out of anything. And you actually have to be accountable. And that's what the Black community is failing in right now. The liberal community has co-opted this so much. And they said, well, hold on. We hate ourselves. And white people are saying this right now. They're saying, well, I hate the biggest threat to the community is white people with guns. Really? Is that what that is? Take a visit. Matter of fact, January 6th, people talk about January 6th being really bad. No, any weekend in Chicago was way worse than January 6th will ever be. And why is that? Well, it's a certain population. I'm just going to tell you right now. Like, hold
on. I actually want to interject because the same libtards that are trying to take away our guns, saying that white people are dangerous with guns, are the same people like Hassan Piker going on stream and teaching you how to make a bomb, teaching you, saying, "Oh, Rick Scott needs to be killed, Donald Trump needs to be killed, all these people need to be killed." It's just
that's crazy.
Why is he not in jail? Trump, you're in power. Republicans, if you guys hear me, I know we don't agree right now on the war and stuff, but that's. Y'all need to jail Hassan Piker, Denims, and all these radical leftists that are advocating for violence, teaching people how to make bombs and everything. These people shouldn't be on the internet gaining influence and telling us that white people need to take away our guns and our Second Amendment when these people are advocating for people to go into the hood and purchase illegal guns to go kill civilians. Because a lot of these libtards that go commit the shooting, a lot of them use criminal illegal guns. And I feel like that's why a lot of libtards want guns to be taken away, because they want civilians to be defenseless and they want the criminal market to skyrocket.
No, I don't think that that's why. And I'll push back a little bit. The reason why
I disagree, but you can go ahead and push back.
This is why I think liberals really want guns to be taken away. The reason why they want guns to be taken away is because they've been brainwashed and brought up in a community where guns are bad and create death, but they can never see the opposite side of this. That is because they've infiltrated schools and academia to where you now have liberal teachers saying, well, hold on, everybody has to get everything in all the pieces. We have to share everything. This communist mindset that we have is leading to everybody getting the same treatment no matter what, no matter how. So this prevents competition. It prevents competition. That's why nobody can succeed, because we all have to have the same handouts, the same thing. No matter what, we have to cease pain no matter what happens. All guns are bad no matter what. Can't we just be kumbaya and peace? It's the brainwashing that starts people are kids. This is why I'm against public schools per se to a certain part, because it starts there. It's not just because, well, they want us to be defenseless. No, I honestly think that they want us to be peaceful and defend ourselves. But that's the problem, though. It conflicts with this whole upbringing that they have through public schooling and indoctrination and brainwashing that they have, that they think that peace can just happen without violence. That's the thing. That's the illusion. Peace can never happen unless there's force backing the peace. They don't understand that. That's what I think it comes from.
But I feel like people like Hassan Piker that are brainwashing a lot of these libtards, they actually do want the criminal market to benefit. They want like these crazy truths that they're telling to go violent to buy from criminal market. Because that's the thing. They say, hey, go do violence, but also let's take away legal guns, because they want these crazy fucks to go buy from the criminal market so they can go fuck up shit. And I feel like people like Hassan and people that know what the fuck they're doing and know that they're brainwashing these people, I feel like that's their attention just because of the stuff they say and do. Because how can you say you're anti-gun, but then you're telling people to go kill Rick Scott, go kill Trump, go kill these people with the illegal guns, and you're also teaching people how to make illegal bombs. You're literally teaching people how to make illegal shit. Yeah, it's wanting the legal shit to be taken away. That's why I have that theory of them benefiting the criminal market, because the same people that are telling the libtards and brainwashing the libtards, we need to take away guns, are the same ones telling them to do illegal shit.
Well, that's because they don't have a real position. To be honest,
No,
it's
they
just
don't.
arbitrary. It moves from goalpost to goalpost. Like I'll bring up because you brought up Hassan Piker, a few times. Like like let's just say you have a Hassan Piker that's here, and is going to say something. And mind you, not only is he saying something, but he's also being motivated by his chat, and he knows he's like lording over this chat. Pun intended, Triton, by the way. But he's like lording over this chat, and the chat is telling him, this is what sells. This is what we need. We need blood. And you're going to be motivated towards this. Well, it's funny because they don't have any recall. They forget what they say like 1 month later, and all of a sudden they're against the very position that they have. Well, it's because they're motivated by money. They're motivated by this arbitrary method, the means of success that never has anything that's consistent. It's just that stock go up one day, stock go down, and the stock could be the chat. It could be the funds they have in this message. As long as it's hot, we're going to sell this. And that's the same thing as like, it's no different from being a fence sitter. But I think fence sitter is way worse than this because you don't know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a chameleon, and this person can switch sides and stab you in the back. It too, Brutus. Remember when Caesar got stabbed? That can happen to any of us, the best of us. What you need to do, like, let's say that you, me, and Jim are in Jay are in not the Jays, but I'm talking about the Epstein PFP here. Like, let's say that we're here in the elevator, and we're playing the game Among Us. You know what that game is, right?
Yeah.
The whole premise of the game is that there's somebody amongst you that's a defector, but somebody has to figure out who's offing the Republicans, who's taking you out. What's happening right now is they're having vote cancellation at home. They're turning your very wives, girlfriends, and everybody else against you. If you have a girl living with you at home and she has a different political stance than you do, your vote didn't count because you canceled that out. As soon as she voted for liberal, you're voting for Republican. Your vote didn't mean shit in the House. So that's what I'm saying. Among Us is happening in real life. That's why the game is very interesting, because you don't want chameleon fence sitters. But at least I'll say this, at least Hassan is consistent about being inconsistent, and also consistent about having violent rhetoric amongst the destinies and everybody else that pleads for violence, because at least you know who they are. I'm more suspicious and have more hatred towards people who say they don't have a position and are right in the middle and say they're undecided. Yeah, go that way, because I don't want you even close to me. I'd rather Hassan be closer to me because I can at least recognize what a wolf looks like, instead of that person that lives in my house that says they're my wife, that got brainwashed by feminism, is like, I just don't know. I don't know. The policies on the liberal left seem more peaceful this year. Like, bro, you literally sleep with a wolf now. This is bad. Like, all this is infiltrating homes, educational system, and they're literally indoctrinating your kids, because who are most of the educational system that we have? The majority, I'd say, from what I hear on TikTok and everywhere else, liberal freaking teachers that we have. They've already almost co-opted the whole school system. That's where this liberal mindset's coming. They're getting our kids, bro. They're attacking our kids, and they're brainwashing our kids. Now, all of a sudden, we have this new legion that's going to vote different than we all ever could. That's what's crazy. They're getting the next generation.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. And I'll give you an example of someone that's like kind of like a flip-flopper that I'm kind of been upset with, Asmongold, because Asmongold's like, oh yeah, I'm against Israel, but I also want them to go after Iran, but I'm against them. It's like, pick a fucking position, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
I can give you a take.
And that's why I just, bro, it's just so.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
It's like,
Okay, so this is my total overlook on Asmongold and why you can never take him seriously. Okay, I'm neither dick riding him nor not dick riding him. Okay, so the way I see it, hold on, let me turn this down. Sorry, Steam Deck was up a little bit. So basically, how I see him, right, is that he fence rides. Okay, he gives the most nuance, take that he can to piss off both right and left at the same time, because he sits on the fence, and it's a nuanced take to basically cultivate more. It tends to find itself in the right wing, because right wing is logical thinking, whereas left wing is emotional thinking. So the right wing, they think he's right wing, right? But he's not either or. He just thinks logically. So when he speaks, he's speaking with someone with common sense, not emotional sense. So that's why a lot of right-wing people want him on their side, but he still doesn't take sides. He's a fence sitter, and, well, he's made stupid takes and he said stupid stuff. Like nuking, like as I like to say, nuke both sides and then we're done with the war entirely, which it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't help anything, and it would end up, it'd end up causing massive fallout in the country surrounding it, and
that's a fence sitter position. And then here's the other thing too. I'll correct you on this thing but this is my own correction of what I see you do. I don't think that common sense exists. I believe that uncommon sense is where we need to go, because the sensible thing that you should do is not common. So I would actually beckon to change the linguistics on this and just say uncommon sense. To me, that makes more sense, because less people, think about comprehension has gone down below an 8th grade reading level. Like, we have conversations, we're speaking past each other. Like, nobody knows what definitions are anymore, what anything means anymore, because we're constantly switching things up.
No one can even write cursive anymore.
Not even that. Not even the fact that we don't even have cursive. I'll go a step above this. And in the automotive industry and everywhere else, nobody can drive a manual because we've automated everything and made things so pussified simple that it's like you teach somebody to drive a stick shift. What is that? I don't know what that is. So we're losing things. We're losing stick shift driving. We're losing cursive. We're losing everything. We're actually dumbing down as a nation right now. But that's a whole conspiracy theory thing that we could go down, but I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories. I just want to talk about definites here. Like, it is definitely something that's happening right now where in our education system has been co-opted by liberal scumbags. And I'm talking about, yes, the women too. And right now, it's like the LGBTQ community has co-opted the Black community. Our educational system is indoctrinating, brainwashing our kids. And right now, they're literally telling you that you're manning up and you need to man up, and they need to tell women to man up as well too. When's the last time you ever told anybody or anybody said in society that they need a woman up? Oh shit, because femininity is being bastardized amongst everybody else. Have a nuclear family, they said. Oh, bad. You're going to be demonized. You're going to be called a cow for having a bunch of babies. They're going to demonize you. That's what I'm saying. We live in a bizarre world where everything else that's good is being demonized and shame's being aimed the opposite way. So back to this war. When I talk about this war and I say that I'm not happy with the decision, but I'm still going to vote for Trump, lets you automatically know that I'm not some snake oil salesman, fence sitter person that's trying to peddle happiness, because the moment somebody tries to peddle happiness, they're invested in your misery. The whole time politically, if they're trying to peddle happiness, purely this, they're invested in your misery, because what's the opposite of this? They have to gain from this. Obviously, the pendulum swings both ways. And that's what I'm saying. This whole culture, we all need to speak up about this. We need to have podcasts talking about all this right now. And I'm pretty sure that we all agree that nobody likes the fact that we're at war right now, right?
No, honestly, I think it's ridiculous. I told Triton this before you got on here. Proxy wars are the death of America, in my opinion. We fight too many damn proxy wars. We got to stop. You got to pull out. We got to pull everything out. We got to basically come back and make America, quotation marks, great again. Like, he needs to go back to what he had said that he was going to do and do it.
Well, it's hard to, the cat's out of the bag right now, and it's like the jar's open, everything's out. It's kind of hard to put it back in the jar now. And this is what I'm saying. Now that we are at war, the best way we can go about doing that is mitigating as many deaths as possible and making the best decisions, because we're here now. Like, you're either here's the thing though. You have to be in two camps. And I'm not saying like there's this dichotomy is or isn't, but I'm just saying right now, like, there's two affirmative positions that you could take right now. You could take, we're at war right now. What's the best decisions we can take? Because we're already here. We can't like back out. We can't say, well, all right, we're out. We have to kind of commit to some degree. Otherwise, it's like, I'm just saying that's just how things work sometimes, especially with this. And the other position you could take is like, regret and resentment. We shouldn't be here, and you're going to fight our own administration when we're already being fought by liberals and everybody else. Enough as it is. So it's like, I'm going to pick hey, we're here right now. Let's make the best decisions we can make. And shit's going to be crazy and hairy. And I don't know what next month's going to look like in gas prices, but shit, everybody's feeling the pain right now. And trust me, I feel it too amongst, both of you. I'm pretty sure both of you feel it too.
Yeah, I do. And that's the thing. It's like me, I'm going to be consistent on voting Republican, but however, I am not going to be voting for Trump, especially in the primary in 2028. I'm not voting for Vance Rubio. I want to vote for an America First candidate. In fact, I have a few Republican candidates in mind that if they do run, I definitely go behind. Thomas Massey is one. Steve Bannon is one, but there's one exception. He needs to be investigated on his ties to Epstein in order for me to have my full endorsement.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's my only thing with Steve Bannon. Like I like the stuff he's done, but like
but I would
has that one little But
his
Thomas
name
Massey is someone that I'm definitely 100% behind.
Bannon's name is too familiar in the Epstein. Like there's too,
that's why.
So this is what I'll say right now.
I know you don't like. Hold on. I know you don't like the pussy fence sitting, but with Bannon, I'm taking that position because it's like I like what he says, but I think he needs to be. But with Thomas Massey, it's like you can say Thomas Massey is definitely better than Bannon. He got the Epstein files released. He's against foreign aid. He's an America First Republican. And he's actually not fully bending to the needs of the Democrat. In fact, he's been fighting the Democrats against the whole security in your car, where they've been trying to advocate for the government to accord stuff in your car. And Thomas Massey's been fighting that, but then all the Democrats and even some Republicans like Randy Fine voted against Thomas Massey's bill into restricting that.
So we're going to make things spicy a little bit. I'm going to ask you a question, Triton. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit and see the consistency right now. Brace yourself, because I'm about to ask you a fucking crazy ass question right now. So here we go. Fucking hold your seats, ladies and gentlemen. If you have the choice of Trump running again, because it's possible, before you tell me I'm crazy, I'm not, and a liberal, who would you pick? Knowing what you know right now, who would you pick?
If there was no Thomas Massey, right?
Nope, Massey, just Trump, and then whoever else the Democratic nominee is.
It's either definitely not the liberal. That's for sure.
You vote for Trump again?
Probably not. I'd probably just set out and be like, until there's another Thomas.
Oh, wait. Don't tell me you're a true fence sitter. That's crazy. So
hold on. It's not a fence sitting. It's my consistency that because here's my thing, right? Hold on. I want to tell you. If you're going to pick. Wait. I want to tell you. Wait. Hold on. I want to tell you my consistency.
Go ahead. Tell me.
I have made a promise to my audience on the podcast that no matter what, I am not voting for any candidate that takes AIPAC money. And Trump takes AIPAC money. And even though he's a Republican, it's just the AIPAC thing is something that I'm very consistent on. And that's why.
Okay, that's something I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know that. That's a new bit of information I didn't know.
No. And I'm glad you asked the question because it's good for me to clarify because people think it's just, you're consistent. You want to go with Democrats. It's like, no, it's called having consistent. The reason why I'm quote unquote fence sitting that it's because of the other consistent thing that I want to be more consistent on is the AIPAC thing. And that's why I don't want to vote anybody, not even Rand Paul. I like Rand Paul's policies, but he's taking AIPAC money. So if Rand Paul runs for president, I'm not voting for him because the AIPAC thing is something that I'm fully against. I'm against foreign lobbies. And what you're saying is my March for America thing, it's against foreign lobbying as a whole. And I feel
you don't want somebody that's legally bribed to a certain motivation, right?
Exactly.
That's
that's why I would say I'm not voting for Trump because he's legally bribed. That's why I say if I'd rather have a Thomas Massey.
If you had a choice, and that's what I'm saying, I only gave you two. If you only could pick one, you can't pick independent. You had to pick one. Who would you vote for?
Well, and I can't, and neither's not an option, right?
Yeah, neither's not an option.
Let's say there's a gun to my head, and I'm like, obviously, I mean, I'd have to pick Trump to just take my own side,
okay, so
if there's a gun pulled to my head.
So there's a reason why I asked that to say this.
Actually, wait, hold on. I'll give you an analogy. Let's take AIPAC out of it. Let's say AIPAC didn't exist.
Okay, let's say AIPAC didn't exist. Go ahead.
If AIPAC didn't exist, I would pick Trump because I picked Trump in 2024 before I knew about stuff with AIPAC.
All right. I mean, that's not exactly an analogy. That's a hypothetical, but yeah. So, but here's the thing, though, that I'll say right now. I tell liberals all the time, and I kind of rage bait them a little bit. Yeah, I'm voting for Trump a third term, and they're saying he can't run a third term. And I say, yeah, he can. So I'm going to tell you, it could happen legally. This is how it can happen. Let's say that the vice president runs for president, right? I'll ask you this right now: can Trump run as a vice president?
I don't even think there is a law against that.
There isn't. Trump can run as a vice president. All right. Now that Vance is president, can Vance step down?
Yeah, then Trump would have to take over, and then Trump would probably applaud Marco Rubio.
Third term. Here we go, baby. But so when people tell me that it's implausible and it can't happen, it's illegal. No, that can happen. That's a scenario where, now granted, it's a long shot, it's crazy, whatever. But when you think about this, people don't really know how politics works. They don't know how these positions work. They don't read the Constitution. They don't know any of this shit. So I'm like, well, Trump possibly could run a third term. You just don't know how. It could possibly. That's a scenario where it could happen. But it's but I had to ask you this just to check for the consistency. But I mean, AIPAC, yeah, you would want to know the motivations of the people that you're investing. Because if I'm running for office in my local city council, state, governor, whatever, and then ExxonMobil comes in and I hold a banquet and they put $1,000 in my pocket. Well, I just got bribed. Well, no, it's not bribed. They gave you a donation. You don't think that they're going to call me and ask for a favor? You're crazy, bro. But I get it when people talk about AIPAC money. We want to know our motivation. That's where the Jays come in. And it's well, who do the Jays have strings to in office? And it's that's going to determine a lot. Now, this is conspiracy speculation stuff. I can't put my finger on it, but that's popped up so many times. But it's some nefarious cabal thing that people talk about. And I think that, yeah, I don't want somebody that's legally bribed to an agenda that's anti-American. That's what I'm against 1,000% of the time. I don't give a shit what president you are. If you have ties to any investment to a country that's not our country, that's so unpatriotic. It's fucking crazy.
And that's the thing that's keeping me away from Trump, Vance, and a lot of these Israel firsters. And the Democrats take money from AIPAC too, and that's why it's I don't like them because of the whole feminism shit, but I wouldn't vote for them either because
there's a lot of them
take money from AIPAC. And it's the whole AIPAC thing is such a big issue. It's to the point where both Trump and Kamala Harris both take AIPAC money. And it's what the fuck are we doing where two people that hate each other, that have opposite views, are taking money from the same anti-American lobby to push false agendas? And that's why I believe Kamala would have put us war in Iran, because she took money from the same lobby that wanted it.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, though, is I don't think you're going to have absolute transparency. I think that's what people want, right? That's what our constituents want. That's what our neighbors want. That's what your brother wants, your neighbor. We all want transparency, but I think as long as there's money involved, you're never going to get that. I think it's a pipe dream. I think it's unrealistic to get this. Race car, let's look at NASCAR. If I'm going to drive a car, which let's say the car represents my nation, you're going to go there and you're going to have a jacket. Well, what's on the jacket? What are the patches? Oh, people that fund you, people that put money in your pocket and keep the gas in the vehicle and keep shit running, right? So politically motivated constituents, I think that's extremely important to talk about. But it's unless we know anything absolute, it's hard to say. So it's the only thing we can determine whether or not, a president is going to make good decisions or not is either one, looking at the past and then looking what they're doing right now. A lot of it is just hope. A lot of this is just hope, but I know definites exist when it comes to the liberal agenda, feminism, Planned Parenthood, deleting babies en masse, and LGBTQ and all this shit with the Obama administration. It's just all bad, man. That's a consistency I don't want, even though you could say, let's say both people take AIPAC money. AIPAC bad, and let's concede that AIPAC's bad. We don't want AIPAC because that's motivation. Well, it goes back to what I said to be in this conversation. I want to mitigate the damage as much as possible. And with the Trump regime or the Trump, what we have right now in office, that's a consistency that I can at least tolerate, because we're at least mitigating what the Democrats would do, because as soon as they get in office, they're tearing down everything Trump did that was good, meaning our border policy, immigration, all that other shit that I voted for that wouldn't have been happening if we voted the other way. They're tearing down all this shit. Matter of fact, they're going to try to go ahead and bog him down in courts. That's what's going to happen. I foresee that in the future.
And this is kind of off topic, but do you know anything about the Ohio primary race? Because they just got a live update on it.
Fill me in.
So Vivek Ramaswamy, the Indian that no one wants in the Republican Party, he beat Casey Putsch in the governor race, unfortunately. Casey Putsch has lost the race.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. We have to look on the small spectrum of things. Everything starts from like a kind of a microcosm, like the American household, right? How you vote means a lot to me. Like, if we're talking about, I see you pulling it up right now. How you vote is extremely important to me. Like, you brought up the dating landscape, right? That's very important. We're all, I don't know. I'm single. I don't know about you guys, but looking at the dating landscape, I'm not dating a liberal, bro. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to date a woman that's going to cancel my vote. Now, we have to think about this. Homes are being infiltrated by this ideology. Kids are coming home, getting a liberal education, and then your woman, mostly probably on the market that you're trying to avoid, hopefully she's not liberal, but she's on the cusp. The men need to stand together. We need to be on platforms like this, talking, preaching, speaking out against the liberal agenda, and then having this consistency. We need to fight this, because the war that we're fighting is crazy. Matter of fact, Triton, the trenches are empty. The trenches are, not Vivek. What
Vivek, Vivek Ramaswamy, he beat Casey Putsch in the primary.
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
Come on, bro.
I wanted
this is bullshit, bro. This is straight up bullshit. Crazy, bro.
I guess, bro,
But this is what I'm saying. Households, and you have to think about the household, the microcosm of the household, in an accumulated effort, voted for this guy. We have to think about this. Now, the weird thing is, and I'll tell you this about Newsom, because I'm going to tie this all together. I've been in Arizona for a very long time. I meet people who are here on their third strike, or, move over here because either Newsom's policies, taxes, shit like that. Musk moved out, Rogan moved out of California. Everybody's leaving. Like, there's a massive migration. Newsom's screwing everything up. I've met so many people moving to Arizona, and I have conversations with these people. And in the conversation, something will come up about politics or why they moved was usually because of the taxes or something like that from Newsom. Did you know, this is anecdotal, I've never met one person that voted for Newsom. How is this guy getting in office when I haven't met one person? And I've heard this from years of people moving, migrating into the state. I haven't met one person that openly says that they voted for Newsom. Where the fuck is he getting these votes from? Boggles my mind. I don't know how this is happening.
He's probably it's probably some rigging going on, because let's be real, Democrats rig stuff all the time. I believe the conspiracy that the 2020 election was definitely rigged, because all these mail-in ballots just came in out of nowhere at the end, and Trump was like, come on. We all know it was fucking rigged back then. No one wanted Sleepy Joe, but we got Sleepy Joe, and it's the same with California, is they rigged the elections, and I'm sure there's some Truons and stuff that vote for Newsom, but it's not the whole state. It's just, he's just getting in because of rigged elections. And not only that, there's also a lot of people scared because they know that Republicans will never win California. So whenever you just have Democrats, you just get shitty people regardless. That's why it's like a lot of Democrat states do need to flip sides if they don't want shitty governors or shitty politicians.
Yeah, it's crazy, but you think things would, do a role reversal at some point in history, but it's just crazy. I think that California, is probably going to get more liberal, because I think that people are going to become red pilled. Literally, when I say red, I'm talking about like the Bloods and Crips. Red is also representing the Republican side. People are literally becoming red pilled and switching sides because of the taxation in California, property values, the homeless epidemic and crisis, what they're doing with the handouts there. Newsom's got bad policies, and he actually fought ICE agents and fought our own federal government and said that he was going to fight Trump tooth and nail and hamstring him every bit of the way. And I think that the people that love this ideology and love this agenda are going to stay in California, and they're willing to go homeless and broke doing so, which is crazy. The self-deletion empathy they have. It's just insane. I don't understand it. So California may as well turn more blue.
So I have a question for you about the Casey Push thing. So if Vivek Ramaswamy wins, like, what is your advice to the voters in Ohio now that they got Vivek and they couldn't get Casey? Do they still vote for Vivek to keep the Democrats out, or what do you think they should do? Not vote at all? Like, what do you think they should? How do they solve the situation that they put Vivek in?
I think that they should keep voting Republican, because the worst that they can actually, like, if you think just when people couldn't go low, things can get worse. Because anytime, in most cases, 99.9% of the time you vote Democrat, you're going to get the obvious consistency that you don't want just because you hate a few things on the right. And to me, that's why I don't think I could throw everything out, the baby with the bathwater, with Trump and this Iran war. Case in point, let's say, well, obviously I don't like the fact that we're at war right now, because that's one of the things that I was like, okay, well, he said we're not going to war, but that's not the main reason. There's voters like me who didn't vote for Trump mainly because anti-war and all. The main reason why I voted for Trump was because of the immigration issues that we have in this country. I think that they're changing our culture, warping everything in society and culture, trashing cities and everything else. Look at what Mamdami's doing. Look at what's happening in Detroit, in Chicago with Brandon Johnson, letting minorities come and fighting our own ICE agency. This propaganda is actually creating this brainwashing method that we don't want. So to me, just because I don't like the war, I have to think about all the good that Trump did bring in. Like, we can't throw all that out. To me, it's like, I don't like this, but at least we don't have the immigration problem. Like, it could be a whole lot worse. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but what's your opinion on Trump wanting to bring 600 Chinese students from China to come into like universities?
Well, there's been this big push to actually push Chinese people out of universities, because I mean, it's almost like reverse racism that's happening right now, or it's like this reversal that's happening right now. Like in California, there were like Asian people with SAT scores out the wazoo through the ceiling. And they were like, no, because we need this affirmative action thing that's going to help balance things out. And that's never worked for society. In fact, like, that's like, if I don't think it's a thing, but it's kind of like a reverse racism, this whole thing that's happening right now. So, I mean, right now it's just kind of like creating more of a balance to that culture that's happening right now, because what we're doing is we're saying, because of the color of your skin, because you're black, we need to give you more of a chance instead of leaning toward a merit-based approach. And that's taking a lot of Asian kids out of schools and colleges. And we're now leaning towards this. And it's like, that's bad, bro. You're basically teaching people that if you work hard, bust your ass and get high SAT scores, because you're Asian, you can't get in. And to me, I'm like, isn't that what liberals fought against forever? But it's like, so him bringing in Asian people that are going in through a merit-based system and actually scoring higher, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that either at all.
And here's the thing, though. If these Asian, you have to look at the outcome, right? And I'm not saying like I'm a relativist or like an outcome-oriented person purely looking at this, but think about it like this. If these Asian people, we have to think culturally. Like, I don't want to frame it like this. Let me see how I can frame this. So you have the Asian culture coming in. They come in, are they going to produce a society of ingenuity, better aerospace, tech, engineering, everything else? Or would you rather the main status quo that we have right now, denying these people from colleges and letting black people come in who are unqualified to get in these positions of being academic students because of their color, race, and all this other stuff? And then what are we producing as a result of that? These black educated students, they're overqualified baristas in the end of this, whereas the Asian person would have got SATs and probably would have came up with a cure for cancer, all this. And of course, I'm being hyperbolic here, probably would have produced a better society. And I know it sounds like racist for me to say this. It's true.
No, you're not wrong. Like, it is definitely true. It's just my thing too. It's like, I just wish Trump, because Trump came out on Fox News and said he supported the Chinese migrant workers and said that they are better value than American workers, and he did say that.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard the clip, I can play the clip if you want.
No, I believe it, because you have to. Here's the thing with immigration. Immigration is good if you are producing for the nation and you are making America a better place. I'll ask you a question right now. Underneath Biden's administration, the immigration and the immigrants coming in, were they improving society as a whole in America, or were they a detriment to our system?
They are definitely a detriment to the system,
right?
And I don't support them immigrants either.
Exactly.
I don't support the Chinese migrant workers either, because you gotta understand, we're in like an industrial war with China, and a lot of those could be fucking spies trying to get intel, trying to get technology, and that's why I'm mainly against it. Because these people could be smart, but these people could end up stabbing us in the back, especially when we have bad tensions with China already as it is. Like, do you want all these spies coming in and giving more influence to China?
We need to have a strong vetting system. Like, we absolutely need to have a strong vetting system. Now, how are they going to do this? Like, I don't know how they're doing this, but you just can't let anybody in your country, the same standards that you have for immigration, I would say we need to have stronger standards. And matter of fact, this is what I'm going to say right now. It's going to sound controversial, but I think we need to have a moratorium on immigration for at least 2-3 years, meaning even if you legally want to come into the country, nope. We're basically saying time out for 3 years. Nobody can even legally come in the country. And I know it sounds really bad for me to say this. Liberals are going to probably try to gut me for saying this, but we need to fix our own fucking shit before we move forward. And even inviting anybody with immigration, we need to, like, here's the thing. If your body's undergoing sepsis right now, you need to be able to rid the bad shit before you can invite anything good in. Like wholesome, whatever this is, you need to rid the body of toxins. And America has a ton of toxic shit in there, meaning all these immigrants that are a burden on the system, burden of taxpayers, and siphoning all the funds off of the system and taking everything and not a net positive to the system. We need to flush them out, meaning, and this is something that Brian Shapiro is against. I would say this right now. Even if you didn't commit a crime, you came here illegally, it's still a crime because you're in my house, sitting on my couch. Just because you didn't steal a bag of Fritos and didn't commit any more crimes, you still need to fucking leave because this isn't your house. You didn't do anything. You didn't even knock on the door. You just fucking came in. How rude of them to do so. So I think we need a break on absolute all immigration for at least 3 years and figure out our own shit. Come together, strengthen and embolden our culture, figure our own shit out. And that's what we need to do.
Yeah, I agree, because that's how we stop with these issues. And I feel like inviting these Indian and Chinese migrant workers in is just going to create more problems, especially when a lot of them have anti-American agendas, and we're in an industrial war with China, and it's like we don't need 600,000 at all. We definitely, because it's you just definitely. At least 10 to 20% of them are definitely going to be spies, because the Chinese government ain't going to play around. And
well, hold on. I'll agree with you to some extent, but we can't demonstrably know that there's a 10% that's going to be spies. But I'll tell you this right now. Underneath the communist regime, you're going to have people that absolutely want to flee this regime, never want to come back and seek America because of its values, our culture and society, and the laws that we have in the Constitution. And even more so than that, believe it or not, the American dream still does exist for people outside of the country looking to flee a different regime because maybe that's not suitable for them. What we need to do, whether or not it's going to sound extreme, a constant polygraph testing, exams, put them through a civics test, all this shit. We need to have a strong filter and then filter out all these people and then get them to kind of acclimate to some degree to our country and find out if they really want it somehow. Now, there isn't an absolute way we could do this, but I guarantee you a lot of these people that are from China do want to come here and be a net positive and add to our culture. Now, granted, I don't think a lot of people south from the border, and this is going to sound super racist for me to say this, that get here illegally, they're not wanting to add to our culture. They're trying to see what they can get, to be honest with you. And I don't think they're doing that. I would actually lean more towards the Chinese people that could possibly be fleeing this totalitarian regime and wanting better, because America has better values, better system. We have two-way rights and all this other thing. Think about it. You can't even have the freedoms you have over there. Matter of fact, you got a social credit score over there. You have all this other shit. Like, there are people out there that are really good people, but are sleeping on the streets just because they spit gum out one time. It's like the camera caught it on the social credit. And it's like, that's it. It's wild, bro. The shit that's going on over there is just insane. But you're going to have a lot more grateful people, gratitude, and hard work coming from China than south of the border, people fleeing and coming here illegally. Higher chance, I would say.
Yeah, but my thing too, it's like the Chinese government is the one picking out the 600,000 students, and it's like, I don't think they should be picking them out. And that's my main issue is
yeah, you got a point.
The ones that decide saying, hey, these people can come and these people have to stay. It's like, we need, like you said, we need the people that want to flee the regime and actually support our ideas and will actually help our country.
Yeah.
But we're not getting that because the Chinese government is in charge of who comes. And it's like, do you really think they're going to be good faith and send the people that want to come here to help us? Or do you think they're going to be bad faith and pull in as many spies as they can in there just so they could spy on America and say, ha, we know what you're doing. Oh, we know what you're doing. And basically like try to take over with these migrants.
Well, this is what I'll say. I think that's why we would need to have an absolute moratorium when it comes to immigration, legal immigration and illegal immigration. If I had it my way, I'd say, yeah, I know they could probably be a net asset, but I wouldn't let the Chinese people come in. And if they do, they need to go through 3 years of doing maybe like civics tests, interviews, all this other shit, because it's like, in order for me, and I'll compare it to one thing real quick. I had to get into the Orthodox Church. I'm an Orthodox Christian. I had to go through like years of being a catechumen before I got into the church to learn what I'm getting into. I can't be a homosexual. I can't be bi. I can't do any of this stuff. And I actually have to uphold the teachings of Christ to get in. And the community has to get to know me. I have to get to know the community so I could be a net positive there and they could be a net positive to me. And we could be a functioning family together. They don't want anybody coming into the church and changing their doctrines, changing their culture, and doing it. It's 2,000 years of unchanged church history for a reason. The same thing with America. We don't want people coming in. Like, let's say these Chinese people are a net positive. Well, they're bringing in a different culture that's not our culture, which is going to change some shit. And it's like, okay, but at what cost? There's going to be a trade-off. And I don't like that trade-off. That's why I think we should halt immigration legally, and illegal immigration altogether should be halted. And I'm being generous when I say 3 years. 3 years, nobody coming in or out. Let's just keep where it's at and boost our own numbers, because if we're having Asian people come in and other people and they're replacing our population, we're replacing it with a different culture that's not our culture. And next thing you know, that senator is now Muslim. It's not Christian, Muslim. And guess what they're going to vote? Well, Sharia law is adjacent to that. Do you want that? No, we don't want that.
Like that Ilha Omar bitch.
Yeah, it's insane, bro. It's so great. That's how we got here, bro.
Yeah, that's how we got, and I agree with that. That's why I think we should definitely just halt on immigration altogether for like at least 3 years until we fix our own problems, get all the illegals out.
Yeah.
And then when the 3 years is over, we unpause it, and then we only allow like the people that actually want to benefit America in. And not let other foreign governments like the Chinese government or the Indian government or any other government decide who gets to come here. We need to decide who comes in our own house. And that's my argument with that.
There's an epidemic that happens right here, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this, and either you, Jimmy's heard of this. And here's the thing I'll tell you right now is like, there's a such thing as a trend called a couch hopper, right? Like let's say it's a woman or a guy. We're not going to put a gender, sex, whatever it is. This person sleeps on couches to couches because they don't have a job. They need somewhere to stay, and we're benevolent. We're kind. Hey, yeah, sure, you can crash here for like 3 weeks. You know what happens? And this is like the allowance part of that. Like, they didn't break in your house. You let them come in, but you're giving them an opportunity. How many times have you heard a story of a couch surfer actually get a job, not take food from your house and contribute right away. The majority of the time, these couch surfer stories I hear is they end up getting kicked out and booted from the place because they end up being a net negative. And it's the same thing with this country. You allow enough couch surfers in your house, well, guess what happens? Squatters' rights, bitch. Is it your house anymore? It's not your house. The culture has changed. The house is no longer yours. That's what's happening. We're slowly eroding our cultural foundation of our country by doing this, by allowing couch surfing en masse. And matter of fact, I'll even ask both of you this question. Have you ever heard of more couch surfing stories that ended in success of people letting people come in and sleep on their couches, where people actually came in, paid the person back for everything that they used, paid their rent, and said, hey, this is for the 3 months that I slept on your couch and did all. Have you ever heard those stories before?
Yeah, I've heard those stories a lot. In fact, there's some.
Hey, no, the stories where they were a net benefit to the person they couch surfed.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I've heard stories where they've been a net benefit.
Where? Tell me these.
Actually, there's a public feud about this fat streamer named PPP who came in and was so fat that he actually ended up damaging the couch, and when he got kicked out, the person had to throw away the couch because he.
That's a net negative.
That is a net negative. He literally lost the.
No, there is no net positive. It's a net negative.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know.
Okay, I was like, what? That
okay? It was like weird, but that's what I was saying. It's like, yeah, I've heard stories, but of it being net negative, yeah.
But I'll ask you again. On the affirmative, have you ever heard of net positive? Meaning that.
Oh, I thought you said net negative. My bad.
No, net positive.
No. I have not heard of net positive. All I've heard was net negative.
That's what I'm saying. Have you heard of a net positive? Somebody saying they slept on a couch and they actually improved the person's life whose couch they slept on?
I mean, technically, it's like I'm sleeping on couch right now, but like I have money to like pay, and it's like net. But yet again, I'm still working on my own place, so it's like it's not like
no. I'm just aside from you, take yourself out of the picture. Society, aside from you, have you heard, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. So it's the same thing. We're having this in mass. It's just couch surfing, and that's what these illegal immigrants are. They're just couch surfers. They come in, they eat the chips. They forget to take the trash out. They expect you to do this because you're providing the roof and everything over their head. And when they leave, how often do you hear about these people saying, you know what? They get a knock on the door and saying, here's an envelope. This is for the 3 months I slept on your couch. We never hear this shit because it never fucking happens. It doesn't happen. Like, that's why I think we need a moratorium on all immigration for at least 3 years. That's what I'm saying. I don't care how unkind it sounds for us to do this. And people can say, well, it's unchristlike for you to do this. Well, it's unchristlike for us to be damaging ourselves and take ourselves out through this self-deletion as a nation. And that's what we're doing to our culture. We're killing Christianity by letting this happen because the culture that's coming in isn't Christian. Mamdami's New York, as far as Christianity, is being destroyed right now. Where's the Christianity in Mamdami's New York? Where's the Christian ethical system in Brian Johnson's Chicago that's happening right now? Murders en masse every weekend that we see. Murders. Just nothing but murder. It's just insane.
And you can say the same thing with all these pro-Israel firsters coming in, even the Christian Zionists that pretend to be Christian, but then they support people that mock Christ or
crazy,
or you got these Jewish supremacists. And that's why it's like, it's hard for me to pick between Aaron Baker and Dan Blizzard because they both talk about the Jewish supremacy shit. And it's like, that's why I say, y'all need to unite. Y'all both made the good point.
Yeah. They need to pick.
I'm sorry, I bring that up because I'm actually mad because I know I have contact with these people and these people are making good points. It's like, can one of y'all go to a different fucking district, you assholes?
Yeah, it's crazy because like I think about it like this, like,
and I call them assholes with respect.
Well, no, well, you can be an asshole and still be a good person. Like I can call my best friend an asshole, but he knows I mean well because I'm talking about the behavior, not him as a person. Now, if I call somebody a scumbag, it's different. It's a bad different. Yeah. So this is the thing, though. If Dan Bilzerian is dividing the vote and watering this down, that's bad, bro. We don't need that because then we're definitely giving the Democratic position a foot in the office, a foot in the door. And it's like, you're definitely certifying the victory. That's bad. So either they need to get together and talk and say, one of them needs to step out while the other person supports that person. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, they need to step out and they need to go to a different district while they still can. And that way they both get in, because I feel like both of them getting in as a team would be way beneficial to the Republican Party and the America First movement versus Aaron Baker and Dan Blizzlerain fighting over the position. Because that's the thing. Aaron Baker was actually polling well to beat Randy Fine. And then Dan Blizzlerain just comes in out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Baker's polls go down a little bit. And Blizzlerain's is not going up as much as that should, because there's still – because it's half and half. There's half people that flipped on Aaron, half are still being loyal. And it's just like, what do you do at that point?
It's hard because like you can't really like certify or guarantee a position. Like if Dan was like, I'm going to support this guy that has the same ideology, same policies as I do, same Republican, and I'm going to do a campaign to support him. But the only thing is he might say, but I just need to guarantee that once you're no longer in office, you're going to do the same thing and support me. Yeah. Good luck with that. It's so competitive out there. It's like, you know, somebody wants to be in office, but then they want to keep this position as long as they can. That's why people run for office again in hope that they don't get out elected. But it's like, that's what's going to happen. So it's like, unfortunately, that's like the case where we like end up eating our own and we're going to be in this position. It just sucks. We got to pick one and then have everybody support that one. But I don't know, man. Sounds like a pipe dream at this point.
Yeah, it's just hard for me because, like, I've interviewed Aaron personally, so it's like I'm not turning my back on Aaron, but at the same time, it's like Dan makes really good points as well, and I don't think like he's a sellout, especially after speaking with Jake Shields. But it's like my position, I've been consistent on it, even when I first heard Dan was coming in, is why the fuck did you pick District 6 when there's already an America First candidate running against Randy Fine? You need to go to another district that doesn't have an America First candidate and run there. In fact, District 16, there's not even an America First candidate there. It's just a AIPAC Republican versus a Democrat. And Dan Blizzlerain can go in with the America First vote and the anti-Jewish supremacy stuff and easily take that district over, while Aaron gets to take over District 6. And I feel like that's what should happen personally. And that's what I've been trying to do, get Aaron and Dan to talk. In fact, Aaron Baker is going to be coming back on this show at some point to talk about that whole thing, because honestly, it's like, as a District 6 voter, I think it's good to give his voice. And if Dan Blizzlerain wants to come on, I'll give him his voice too. But I feel like it's important to give Aaron Baker's voice, because Aaron Baker was actually so close to beating Randy Fine and changing the Republican Party so people don't vote Democrat. But then now it's like everyone's watering the vote, while all the Israel Firsters are like, you know what? We're continuing to support Randy Fine. These people are eating each other, and Randy Fine's just going to win. And we're going to literally have a shitty Republican that's anti-free speech. And we don't need that in the Republican Party.
Yeah, I don't know. We really have to do our due diligence and really look at, like, you have to be invested in who you're voting for. And this is going to sound crazy. Like, I'm going to sound like an oxymoron when I say this. I'm a professional athlete in 2 world-class sports. But bro, I don't watch sports at all. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch football. It's going to sound really weird because they could say, well, how are you going to be an American man and not watch American football? Well, because politics is a sport to me, because that's what's going to determine whether or not my kid eats a certain food at school, what they're putting, the dyes, what they're learning in school. They're going to digest more than just food. They're going to digest this liberal agenda. The rainbow flag doesn't mean God's promise anymore, because the rainbow people took it from us. Now it means gay shit. Like, it's like, so to me, I think that's what I'm invested in right now, is like the way that we're going to vote, our policies, the cultural atmosphere, this diorama that we're building right now, as far as like how we build. That's why we're talking about the Jays, the Dan Bilzerians, the people in Chicago and how Chicago's doing as far as their high crime rate. That's probably never going to change because of dumbass race baiting Brandon Johnson in office. Newsom's California, with that there's this massive exodus people fleeing right now. To me, I'm looking at that is like, the Democratic convention, Republican conventions, and all this is like games, away games at a sport. And then we have this presidential election as a Super Bowl to me. We have to look at this as a nation, but we're making more ignorant children, because we're just saying people bad because they think they're bad, but they're not explaining why this person's bad or their policies. No child in school, I think, is being educated on all this stuff. When you're being taught by liberal people and liberal teachers, this is the next generation that's being taught. These are the next people that are going to be voting with this liberal agenda that's infiltrated public schools, and they're going to infiltrate, and we're going to be dinosaurs compared to them. Grandpa, you know how that thinking is. Nuclear families are a thing of the past. We modernize where we have now women can be the man and the woman at the same. It's like, it's crazy. All this is coming from public education and more. That's why I think more people need to be invested in politics more than ever. The pornography industry, all this needs to be fought in all fronts. Like, so when you say things like, I don't know about these proxy wars and all this, we have proxy wars. I just described a few of them right now that's happening right now. But Triton, Jim, we need more of you guys in the trenches, because these trenches that we're in, these conversations we're having are empty. There's a literal tumbleweed going through one of the trenches that we see right now because nobody wants to get out here and fight. People want to be, no offense to you, Giga Chad Epi, but people get online and they get behind these PFPs and they don't dox their face. They don't have the boldness. They don't have the balls, guts, and courage to get out here and say what's on their mind with their names and say, hey, I don't like this, and that, and motivating gallons of youth out here to vote a certain way and say, hey, I never thought about this. Martae actually has some sensible opinions out here. And it's like, it's hard to do this when you have a cartoon image or, just a profile pic and you're too scared to cam up and talk. Like, we need brave men out here in this coalition fighting against this liberal epidemic that's happening. And it's infecting our kids and our households. And it's changing the way we vote, bro. It's crazy.
That's why I've been doing webcam streams first, because I want people to see my face. I want people to see my expressions and know where I'm actually coming from. And not only that, but I also want people to know, hey, this is me. This is my real opinions. And that's why I have the cam. But Jim, because I see he's on mute, Jim can explain why he doesn't have a camera or whatever. Go ahead.
I don't cam up. I mean, first of all, it's dark in my room. Second of all, I'm talking from a phone, so
if the lights were on, we probably wouldn't want to see what's going on there anyways. Is that what you're saying? Well,
no, I'm literally laying in bed talking to y'all here.
So like I said, we don't want to see you laying in bed, bro. So
people like Jim are exempt. People like Jim are exempt.
Yeah. I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying, like, as a majority, because we're going to have a sparse few that does, maybe you had a job you don't want to lose, things like that. But I'm talking about the people who are bold and courageous. We need more people getting out there and standing 10 toes down on business and getting pushback, getting out here and fighting in these trenches and getting people to tell them no sometimes, because we live in such a soft generation where it's like the moment somebody tells you no, it's like you got SA'd. It feels like you've been hurt by somebody because you have such thin skin because you never get told no. Well, that's what the modern woman is facing right now. She's being praised by so many people because of fat acceptance, body positivity, and everything else. We've said less no's to women to where the average body type of a woman, the average weight, guess what that is? 295 pounds. Fucking ridiculous. 195 pounds. My bad. The average weight of the normal woman in modern America is 195 pounds. That's fucking crazy. You mean you're a grown man walking around out here? Like, of course you don't need a man because you're a whole ass woman man on a scale. That's crazy. I think we need to change this epidemic and tell women they need to lean towards more, feminine attributes, meaning you're not going to weigh twice as much as me. If I was a malnourished man, that's crazy. Like, the standards in America have changed because our culture has been co-opted by liberal agendas. It's insane. But that's what I'm saying. Men need to cam up. We need to face this onslaught of liberal bastards, like this liberal bastardized agenda, and fight it and get told no to our face. Because sometimes that helps out for us to question our own world.
And also have conversations like these where we're not like echo chambering, we're actually challenging our own ideas and also coming up with ways to fight the liberal media better. And that's why it's like I'm willing to do more shows with you town to town, because it's like having the other conversation, the first conversation, and now it's like you actually are a person that will actually push back whenever that I need it. And not only that, but if we can actually have a conversation where we agree to disagree and actually have entertaining content. Not just that, but also have an informative conversation with different perspectives. Because I'm tired of seeing these echo chambers. I'm tired. And that's one thing of MAGA that
echo chambers are gay.
Yeah, that's one thing like a MAGA that I will criticize. Is like when I started criticizing the war, I had a lot of people say, you're a leftist. You are a Democrat. It's like, Motherfucker, I've never said I supported the Democrats. Why the fuck are you calling me a fucking Democrat for just disagreeing with Trump on
That's
one
crazy.
fucking
That's like
thing?
fighting words, bro.
Literally, I've been called Democrat by some of my close friends.
Don't call it a Democrat.
I've been called a Democrat by people on Twitter, by MAGA accounts, for just supporting Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey's a Republican. They call him a Democrat too. I'm like, bro, just because you're not sucking Trump's dick every single day doesn't mean you are not, like, Trump's not God. Trump can be criticized. Just because we criticize Trump, it doesn't mean we fully hate him. We just don't like the stuff he's doing right now.
Trump's not infallible. We can all agree here. Like, the man makes mistakes a lot, and he gets demonized a lot too. But they could say, well, you slept with somebody outside of your marriage. Yeah, that may be true. He made mistakes in the locker room talking all this other shit. Meanwhile, I look at the other end of the aisle, and Planned Parenthood is getting extra funding, and all of a sudden LGBTQ is getting more rights, to where it's like now all of a sudden whites are becoming obliterated off the map, and we have this white geocide. I can't say the word, but it's like this white extermination that's happening in America, all on the liberal side. And to me, it's really crazy. Matter of fact, I'd like to point this out. When I'm seeing protests online, whether or not it's TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, where white women, literally white women, basically saying the evil person is white people. I'm like, you're white yourself. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, like, you're literally white yourself. That's the thing they have. Some of them are even married to white husbands. It's like,
well, that's what I'm saying.
You're married to a white husband. You have white kids. So are you and your kids evil? Is that what you're saying? Is this like a definition?
Here's another point I'll bring up right now. Like, they're so anti-white people. Who's Ilhan Omar married to?
The white person.
All right. Who's Don Lemon married to?
White person.
What about, like, I can name, like, but you're so anti-white, but everybody on the liberal left is married to a white person while hating white. Like, this is the stupid shit that we hear on the liberal left the whole time. You're so anti-white, but you're in bed with white the whole time. It's like, bro, you're committing seppuku every day. You might as well be a kamikaze pilot to your own freaking party, because you guys aren't existing. And then second of all, they're deleting themselves via Planned Parenthood while Christians are out producing them. And that's the crazy part about this. Not only are Christians saying we need to reproduce, be fruitful, and multiply, the liberals are saying we hate ourselves, even though I'm white, and white's the enemy. We're deleting ourselves, and we want the black community to delete themselves, and black community is following suit by deleting themselves in mass. So guess what? It isn't so bad from my end of the aisle anyways, because the majority that's going to exist, if they keep it at this rate, is going to be more Christians to some degree. Now, granted, we are at a population decline, and all we're asking is less of the bad on the left. As much as we can, remember what I said, mitigating. The reason why I voted for Trump, and I still support Trump, even though we are in this war that we don't want to be in, is because of mitigation. Because if we had voted left or voted for the other side of the aisle, it would be 10 times worse. 10 times worse for our children's future and their future. Now, granted, once this flips over and they actually get a seat in office, they're going to try their damnedest to undo everything Trump did and destroy everything. We need to fight right now and not take our foot off the gas right now, as far as like supporting Republican ideals.
100%. And this is also why, like, I've been kind of criticizing the GOP, just because I don't want people veering away from the GOP because people think, oh, Republicans are bad. It's like, we can do better. We need America First candidates. We need people that want to put more mass deportations. We need more pressure on that. We need people that are actually anti-war and that will actually, stand up for our country and not be for the lobbyists, because that's the thing. Because here's what destroyed the Democratic Party: the lobbyists, the media. And it seems like some of the Republican Party, we got all these neocons in the Republican Party trying to veer the Republican Party to that way. And we need to stop veering to that way. We need to cut off the mainstream media from our party and actually replace it with something else. Because the mainstream and the establishment is what's destroying our country. That's what took over the Democrats and made them into LGBTQ freaks. And that's what the establishment is what's taking the Republicans and destroying its reputation by being Israel first. And the establishment's destroying both parties. They've been destroying the Democrats a long time ago, and they're corrupting the Republicans the same way. But the difference between Democrats and Republicans is there's a lot more America First fighters like myself, you, that are willing to fight for the Republican Party to still have values, just so we can actually be better than the left and actually show that our party is better. Because right now we're slowly veering to the same direction the left is, and we could still change it, but we got to make sure we get rid of these neocons out of our party.
Yeah, so there needs to be a mass exodus of all kinds. And when people don't like something and it's uncomfortable, they tend to flee. We need to make this pot of water so hot and boiling in Republican belief systems and conservative values and Christian ethics and all this that people start either leaving, because I've seen a lot of people on TikTok, Democrats, and saying, you know what, I'm out of here. Ellen DeGeneres, Roseanne Barr, and all these other people. I'm out of here. I don't like it. Good. You know what? Sayonara. We don't need you, because the same thing is happening in California. Republicans only tolerated it so long. Joe Rogan fled. Elon Musk fled because it's not good. If you're making great money and you're actually producing commerce for that society or city. Matter of fact, New York and Mondami, what they've done, they created these grocery stores that are freaking empty. People have actually taken pictures. There's like no produce, and they're saying, well, it's public owned and city owned and everything else. Everybody, it's this egalitarian business that we have, this model, not profiting anything. Matter of fact, if they continue on that model, guess what's going to happen? The same thing in California is going to be a mass exodus where business owners are going to take their money with them. And guess what's going to happen? The devaluation of New York is going to happen. As long as we have this Muslim first mindset and put America on the back burner, New York is going to look like a trash pile. And next thing you know, nothing but bums are going to be there, and everybody else is going to try to vie for that office. And what are they going to be doing? They're going to be having to deal with Mom Dami's mess that he left to try to clean up. Same thing with Brandon Johnson. Newsom, I don't know who votes for him, but California is a shithole, to be honest with you. It doesn't even look like America anymore. If they bomb California, all they do is solve the homeless epidemic, and then maybe property values will go up a little bit. But I'm just like, bro, America's getting trashed from the inside out. The first thing we need to do is uphold administration, and then slowly bring up propaganda towards nuclear families, destroy the sex industry, figure out how to destroy OnlyFans. That needs to be destroyed. First of all, there's so much that needs to be done. But the reason why I brought that up, Triton, is because all these are proxy wars that we're fighting, right? All these are side tangents and side quests that we need to fight. They all need to be addressed and fought. That's why I'm kind of like, we're talking about the Iran war, but there's a hodgepodge of things that need to be addressed, because we need to fix our own shit. We need to fix our own shit. Of course, we got this. We can't, like, we're already in it. We might as well fucking try to reduce casualties, because we're already at war right now. But we also need to internally fix our own shit. We're doing that right now, decreasing immigration, but we need to continue on this trend and make sure that we don't let up any foot off the neck of these Democrats. That goes into the next election cycle, the next one. No matter what, I would never give Democrats an inch. I don't give a shit what happens.
And I agree too, because that's the thing. They're just gonna fuck it up even more. And this is why we even voted for Trump in the first place, to make sure these people didn't come in and for Trump to fix the country. And I feel like, first we need to definitely get the neocons out of the Republican Party, and then we also need to arrest all these radical leftists that are promoting violence and making people into like these violent ideologies. We need to get rid of the Hassan Pikers. We need to get rid of the Dean Withers. We need to get rid of anybody that supports violence and saying, oh, Trump needs to be killed, any of that. They all need to be in jail. Just like how they're trying to jail people for criticizing Israel, these people need to be in jail. I'm surprised these radical leftists haven't been in jail before the people that have criticizing Israel. Like, that's what I don't understand. That's why I'm kind of upset with the Trump admin a little bit, because they're focusing more on criticism of a stupid foreign country that sucks and is anti-American, more than the actual threat, which is the radical left that are committing violence and trying to shoot up and shit. In fact, there's an update of the Trump assassin of the judge apologizing to Cole Allen, the guy that tried to strip the White House.
Yeah, that's like, crazy.
Why? It's like, bro, who gives a fuck?
Yo,
what about suicide watch? Hold on. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something nuclear, but without saying it. He needs to just go away. Just go away. You know what I mean by that? Go away. No one needs to care. I'm doing it because we're both on YouTube, so I'm not.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
So, but you know what I mean. He needs to Go away. Where he
You know the
never
judge.
seen again.
I got to bring this up because this is ridiculous. I'm glad you brought this up. Cole Allen is a teacher, right? Remember that guy?
Yeah,
the guy who just finally, you know what the judge recently told him? I don't know if you heard this, but you can Google this online right now as we speak. He told them that despite the assassination of our president, he still should be nominated. It doesn't mean that he shouldn't still be nominated for Teacher of the Year. Bro.
What? Trump needs to fire this judge. Like
these are the liberal judges. So this with Irina Zarutska, somebody let that guy out that was a liberal judge on the bus that stabbed her. Liberal judges are a big fucking problem in America. That's another issue that we have. So you see what I'm saying? This whole war, like these little proxy wars we have, they all need to be fucking fought. We need to bring this up. We need to talk about this. We also need to do something about this. And that means like vote for your local congressman that's leaning towards the views that you want, things like this, even on a microcosm in your home. Sit down and have the conversations. I know people say things like, in matter of fact, this is like in relation to dating. People can say things like this, Triton. They'll say, Triton, you know, if you're on a first date, never bring up politics or religion. And it's, well, those are the most important things. Do you want to be with the liberal? Do you want to be with the Democrat? Do you want to be with somebody that's a Satanist or does Wicca behind your back and all this other shit and can use my baby's being sacrificed to ball at Planned Parenthood? It's like, we need to really have these conversations. People are too afraid because here's the thing though, chasing pussy will be something that will be a detriment to men across America as we delve into an era of men becoming more virgins than ever before. We need to be able to recognize that this carrot that we're following right now is not the carrot that's going to sustain life in the future as they continue to kill your babies and change your ideologies and go against your vote in the future household that you want to run, that next thing you know, you're usurped authority because of feminism in your house. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important to have these conversations. And not only that, but it's also really, it's really important for me to like make sure that we also vote for people that don't take money from any kind of lobbies, because a lot of these lobbies, because the lobbies are what hurt the Democrats and made the Democrats into LGBTQ freaks because they're taking money from LGBTQ lobbies. And AIPAC is one of those lobbies because that's the thing. They have LGBTQ pride parades in Israel. In fact, some of these Israeli first people, like that's the thing. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. And when I bring this up, it's not, I don't support the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But one thing of Charlie Kirk that I personally disagree with is him allowing LGBTQ and, you know, and the gay stuff in the conservative movement. It's like, bro, this is what we're fighting against, is LGBTQ freaks. And yet you're just going to allow these people to a movement saying, we need more gay conservatives, we need more LGBTQ. It's like, it's one thing if they line our views, but like, we don't need to just promote all these people that just say they're conservative. Like, if they're part of the LGBTQ community, we got to make sure that they actually follow conservative values and not just here grifting, because the same way that they infiltrated the Democrats, it's the same way that they're going to try to infiltrate the Republican Party. And I feel like Charlie Kirk was way too open to a lot of these leftist freaks leaving the leftist party, but bringing these stupid ideologies that we disagree with into the Republican Party. And it's like, we got to be consistent.
Well, here's one thing I'll tell you right now. Like, I was more emboldened. I do debates, right? I mean, you guys have probably seen me in a few debates. I've done a shit ton of debates. And the reason why I stepped up the tempo when it came to doing debates and engaging in debates, I don't turn down debates. There's a reason why. Because I think that the moment that you turn on a debate is another opponent that you can vanquish and their message dies with them in influencing and changing a lot of people who are fence sitters in the process of doing this. Meanwhile, meaning like if I'm debating somebody on a panel, like let's say this panel, I'm debating somebody and you're the moderator, and the person with the Epstein picture says, you know what? I think that gays should exist, and I think that we should teach a new class and whatever. And I destroy him in an argument. There's probably like maybe 5 people, maybe even one person sitting on a fence. And maybe my decision changed his mind at home, but I didn't change Epstein's mind up here. That doesn't matter to me, because the person watching this entertainment, eating popcorn at home, is watching another form of propaganda in the form of debate. Now, people can say debates aren't changing minds and hearts at homes. Well, debate is becoming more popular because with the advent of YouTube and us saying more things on YouTube, like we could say more things, even though we have like TOS, which is stupid. We're limited language here, but because we can debate things, people are becoming more entertained. This is like the new WWE now that's happening right now. There's World War debate. I'm going to be in World War debate, destroying people, laying people out in mass, decimating my opponents there. I'm going to be on another episode of Jubilee, destroying another freaking liberal dumbass on there too, and their talking points. And I'm going to be doing more talk shows in person, IRL, doing more debates, destroying more people. And this is entertaining. So people will look at entertainment and buy into it. All that is just good propaganda. We need more of it.
100%. Do you know any person that leans more to like pro-Israel that I could debate in the future? Because I would love to debate someone that is pro-Israel and actually like destroy them on that topic and be like, listen, we can't be funding this genocidal terrorist organization. They kill Christians, but they support Christians. Russians are bad. Well, if they really hated Muslims, they wouldn't be working with the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or any of those fucking stupid sand countries. Like, well, literally.
The best way to
anti-Muslim. They're only anti-people that are against them. If the Muslims suck their dick like the UAE, Israel will give them support. Well,
I'll tell you the best way to find it. Minions. The best way to find somebody that's pro-Israel, and you're going to have a really good chance of finding this, and I just thought about this right now. Go on Twitter and look at Christian Zionists, because there's a shit ton of Christian Zionists there that are pro-Israel. And I guarantee you, start getting in the comment section and then start.
All of them turn me down. They literally say, nah,
good.
Nah, you're pussy. You're a neo-Nazi.
Well, you got to find a way. Here's what you do, and I've done this before, and I did this on my channel. There's a guy named Orthodox Guy that I had a conversation with who wouldn't do debate. He turned down a debate with a girl named Paige. That's one of my moderators. Turned down debate left and right. What I did, and this is like sneaky bastard shit that I did. I had to do this because sometimes people won't fight you. You got to kind of try to meet them where they're at. And how I did this is I said, hey, let's just have a conversation. Like, I just want to have a conversation, but I want to have somebody that we both know present. Right? If he's there, you're cool with him, right? Try to find the friend of your enemy who also knows you and have them present. That guy's now a moderator in a debate that he showed up to that he didn't know was a fucking debate. And that's what happened. I got up here, obliterated the shit out of this guy as he contradicted himself, but you have to be able to talk to people. And I'm not saying you don't know how to talk to people, but get on Twitter and seriously sit down in the comment section and be like, hey, I'm very interested to hear your views because you are in a debate, so you can destroy them. I'm worded like this. I'm very interested in hearing your views and hearing what you have to say, because I've never heard your angle before, because it's his angle. Maybe nobody else said it quite like him. You're being honest here. And I've never heard your angle before. Is it possible that we can have a conversation over this? Maybe you could sway me. Doesn't sound like a confrontation, does it? You know,
in fact, there's this one guy that I've talked to. In fact, I'll probably invite him on the show, that disagrees with James Fishbeck a ton, brings up his legal cases and all that. And I'm willing, which I don't know much about James Fishbeck's legal cases. I really don't give a fuck because I vote more on policy. And I wanted to debate this guy because, for one, this guy actually is open to debate, and I feel like he would actually call into my show and actually, have a conversation. And I actually want to ask him why he does, like, if it's just the court case stuff he doesn't like, or if there's policies of James Fishbeck stuff that he doesn't like. And maybe he can also inform me on the court case stuff, and then I can look into it, see if he's lying, and try to debunk him there. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about the court case stuff, and I'd rather, have someone tell me to look at it and then give my own unbiased, my own biased perspective of like what I align with and stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like it'd be good because you need to have conversations like that. You need to have conversations with people you disagree with. And sometimes, like you said in the first conversation, sometimes you do need to lose the debates to get better. Because I'm sure you've probably lost debates before in your time. And it's like, just because you lose
very
one.
Few.
Yeah, very few, but you'll always have that one. You will always have that one.
Well, you know who was the one that I lost to, but it was narrow?
Who was it?
Fucking Destiny. That's the only one.
Destiny, the liberal one?
Yeah, Destiny was. Yeah, I narrowly lost to that guy, but I'll even admit it. But I guarantee the next time I face Destiny, oh man, I'm gonna be.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never liked Destiny, but one thing I could say is that he knew how to win, especially when he was popular. He knew how to win debates.
Yeah, there's a guy from the DC universe, and I forgot what his fucking name is. He killed Superman.
What the fuck?
He killed Superman. That guy. Like, I want to be like that guy. Like, you can't kill me the same way twice. I get stronger every time we debate, and I come back better and better than ever. That's what I want to kind of be like that guy. So,
I'm still alive.
forgot the name of that guy, but yeah, just like that.
I have to use his computer because. Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, you're fine. Who's the guy that Superman fought? He killed Superman before. His name was forgot it. You know who I'm talking about. He has like the spikes from his body and shit. So you can't kill him. He can't. I mean, he could die, but as soon as he like comes back to life, the same thing that killed him won't kill him. You got to kind of be like that person in a debater. You got to learn. Like, anytime you lose a debate, learn how you lost. Like, do research, review your debates that you lost, and actually become a student of the game while you're in it. Like, you can learn how to fight while you're fighting. That's the thing. Like, you could possibly do this, right? A lot of people just take a loss and they're just like, screw it, I give up, I'm done. No, get in there and learn how to be a better fight. Review your last fight. Look at your
that's what
critique your own logic, man.
There's a few debates that I end up winning, and those people will never debate me again. It's like, you can literally have like another round and defeat me, but they're like, no, you're too much of an asshole. It's like, no, it's not because I'm an asshole. It's because you lost a debate. In fact, I remember there's this one streamer that I came in, and he had like 4 people yelling over me, and I over-yelled everybody and destroyed all 4 of them. And ever since I've done that, none of those people want to talk to me ever again. They're like, you're too much of an asshole. We can't debate you. You over-talk. It's like, it was literally 1 against 4. Come on. You literally had the fairest chance, and you guys still are scared of me, even when you have an unfair chance against me. Because I'm not going to lie, it's an unfair chance, but it's 4 against 1. But you guys won't even take that, because you know that you guys are wrong on a lot of stuff to talk about. And not only that, but some of those people just were former friends of mine that agreed with a lot of my positions, but then only disagree with me because they don't like me on certain shit. It's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, debate is fun, man. I like debates. I like questioning things.
In fact, this is sometimes me, Jim, or Dan, or some people on my panel, like, even though like we're friends, we'll like have a little disagreement time to time, because at the end of the day, it's like, you don't want to have an echo chamber. You want to have your own opinion, and if you disagree with something, you want to speak out about it and actually have a conversation about it.
Well, not just that, but if you notice, like, if you're fighting Tai Chi or boxing or something like that, your movement gets more refined. You become a better striker at the time. Like, if I'm debating and I have a position like a pro-Trump position, I'm anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, and all this. Now my position gets refined. It gets sharpened a little bit more because somebody found an angle that I never thought about. So what I'm doing is I'm closing up all these weaknesses, strengthening my defenses, and then figuring out how to get around theirs. Like, it's all a stretch. Like, you have to really think about this. All of this is just, conversation that's really competent, where it's like you're playing chess up here, but it's also making you question your own belief systems too, because I think that your belief system should be questioned constantly. I find myself constantly questioning my own position all the time. Like, is this logical? Does this make sense to even me? Like, I automatically think like this throughout a debate. Like, is that making sense? Do I want to say this? Oh shit, there's another angle. Damn, if he says this, that could dismantle my whole position. I need to figure out, like, how does this make sense to me? But you also think about this, like, you come away from the debate and all that does is embolden your position even more, especially if you feel like it makes sense to you, because debates have to make sense to you in the end of this. Like, you leave and the way that you voted, you're like, automatically I'm voted for Trump, because that opponent's position, anti-Trump, really bad. So now I'm a bigger Trump supporter or a bigger Republican idealist like than a Democrat. So it actually emboldens your position even more when you do more debates.
Yes, I do. And I do agree with that too, which unfortunately, I do got to wrap up soon, but we can
you're good.
This conversation and honestly, like, I definitely would invite you back on like next week to talk more about this stuff, because more of this stuff needs to be discussed, and people like me, myself, you, and even more rebuttal, because I've met you through Mo Rebuttal. It's like Mo Rebuttal, me and him had a few conversations, and we
Most
need
cool.
people, yeah, because he will literally tell you to your face of what he agrees and disagrees with, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah.
And I remember like me and him disagreed a little bit on the MAGA issue, and I may bring him back on to talk more about the MAGA issue and see like what he thinks on that more, because that's the thing. We need more conversations, because that's the thing. In order for Republicans to even get along, we got to see what we disagree on if we want to work together and go after the left. We got to work out our own disagreements, and we can't just hold these disagreements and let each other have animosity like behind the scenes. Like we need to actually speak out and let each other know about our disagreements.
So I have breaking news right now that I'll tell you guys right now. I'll actually show it on the screen right now. What does this say? If you can read that.
Cure for cancer found 1 hour after Netanyahu's diagnosis. Is that even real?
So it's like, oh, so one of the Jays gets cancer and all of a sudden you guys find a cure. I'll read the rest of this real quick. The cure for cancer has allegedly been found just 1 hour after Benjamin Netanyahu was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Sources tell us Netanyahu was cured almost immediately, and the cancer didn't spread at all with this new treatment. Is this a miracle? And do you think this will be available to the public? So it's like, bro, come on.
No, if this is true, this is not just some clickbait story.
I don't know if it's clickbait or not, but I saw this and I figured since we were talking about the Jays, I might as well bring it up. And I'm not trying to.
It's definitely real. I'm just saying, like, in case it is clickbait. Well, let's say it's not clickbait.
Yeah.
Of course, they're not going to give it to the public. Netanyahu is an important figure, and they care about that. This shows you stuff like this shows you what they really care about, and they care more about the leaders than the actual people. I'm sure they've had a cure for cancer a long time. They just only use it for the right people, not for everybody, and that's why good working class people that are not rich unfortunately pass away from cancer all the fucking time, because our government doesn't give a shit about them, and they rather just rob them out of chemotherapy and all that. That's just my conspiracy theory, but that's actually what I believe. And I know people will be like, oh, you're crazy. But no, that's just something I do believe, because I noticed, like, if this is true and they found a cure for Netanyahu, then they had a cure the whole fucking time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They didn't find it within an hour. They just went through the world, found the cure, bought the cure from whatever black market that has it, and they used it on Netanyahu immediately, because he's more important than any of us. And
one thing I'll say to kind of wrap this whole show up on my end is, like, these are the positions I have. I'm not a Zionist. I'm anti-Zionist. I do not support Israel in the regard that a lot of people do. I just support Trump in the advent of this war and us mitigating bodies being deceased and boots on the ground. Hopefully we can mitigate that. I'm just pro mitigation. Since we're already here, we're not going to pull out. We might as well finish what we started and commit to this whole thing. Now, we can't turn around automatically overnight. It's not going to probably happen. Let's be honest. We got to be truthful and honest here. But in lieu of this happening, I hope that the anti-immigration stance we have is a go, and I hope that we are constantly doing this. And also, Trump's promotion of Christophobia is a thing, and we continue on this trend as we constantly combat this Muslim immigration that comes in with Mamdani, them fighting Brandon Johnson in Chicago, him constantly pulling the race card, Newsom. He's being hamstrung at every opportunity. Hopefully we can support him in the good that he is doing. And I understand that Iran bad, the whole position, but let's look at the other things that are good. I'm not saying it's a diversion, but I'm just saying, like, in lieu of this happening, we at least are getting immigration and all the other good things, because the opposite of the aisle voting for Harris, we wouldn't have gotten any of this shit happening. And we probably would have got the war at the same time with all the bad shit. So yeah, there it is. That's my position.
My position is basically his position.
Oh, so you're just going to be a copycat? And I was like,
no, man, you just hitting all the good stuff. You hitting all the good stuff. Shit.
Hey, you know what? At least you're not on a fence, and I don't hate your guts because you're on a fence and undecided and voting independent. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, that's a wrap on my position. That's what I figure. If it does change, I'll tell people if it changes. I'm very transparent, but I'm anti-feminism. I'm anti anything that's satanic and occultic in origin that's anti-Christ. I'm against that. So if you're pro-Israel and pro-Jays, that's not promoting Christ at all, to be honest, in my opinion. So all these people that are Zionist and saying that we can be Christian and no, that's anti-Christian to do so in my belief system. So, yeah.
Hey, Martae, real quick before you go, did you see what Shuan Head did to Hamas Diddy Bin Laden Pecker?
No, I heard that what she did pissed him off, like, and kind of wrecked him a little bit, but I didn't hear what that was. Can you kind of fill me in a little bit?
So he gave a really brain dead, awful take about gamers, right? Wanting to be father figures about the pragmatic game, right? You know, they see it, they want to do it. And he called them incels and basically don't strive to become a father. Don't strive to make something out of your life. That's what he basically said, which was stupid. Yeah. And she said she wrecked his ass up and down because she has kids. She has a husband, right? And she said that the whole meaning of life is to have a child and a wife and like to have family. That we procreate. It's what life is essentially. And if you're not doing that, then what you're just wasting your potential.
So I have the quote right here. After you're done, I'll read the quote.
And the other thing she said is that she basically put up on screen that he had said that he went to all these bordellos, right? And the fact that people like me and everything could quotation mark, she said this like sarcastically, oh, they can really go and go to these bordellos just like you, Hassan. Damn. And then she was roasting his ass on the fierce. And then he got all, he started violently shaking like he's autistic or something. And she took a clip from an old Freak Outfit thing where this girl's like jumping up and down on her bed and like throwing shit at the wall and stuff. And she just roasted him with that. She just posted that. She didn't even say anything. She just posted that on Twitter and roasted his ass.
So this is what I see, just to bring people up to speed. This is what I'm seeing too. Let me know if I'm wrong, but this is right off of Google. It says in April 2026, streamer Hassan Piker faced backlash for comments made while reacting to video game Pragmata. In a viral clip, Piker mocked gamers who expressed the desire for families or traditional values based on the game, stating, this is a direct quote from him, if you are a fucking lonely gamer who has never been around with a woman and will never have sex with a woman, why do you care? Like, what do you care about? Having children or like writing or having children for having children? The context of the quote, and I read, Piker was reacting to content surrounding Capcom's Pragmata. So he was criticizing gamers who he perceived as lonely or unfuckable for expressing interest in fatherhood, family-orientated themes. Now, here's the thing, though. The backlash, this promoted significant criticism from viewers and content creators who accused him of mocking traditional family values and attacking his own audience, with some calling it a meltdown. The remarks were seen as critics as an attack on gamers wanting families, while others argued the criticism was a crash out moment, according to commentary from various YouTube channels. That's crazy.
Yeah, he is out of touch. He is so Hollywood oriented, so rich in his own asshole that he can't see his own audience and what they want as it's just it's great. And Shuan Head is like Nick Fuentes of the left, right?
Yeah.
So she's calling, a left person is calling out another left person.
Scathing.
it's sexy. It's very sexy.
They will eat their own kind. I wouldn't call it sexy, but I'll say that they'll cannibalize each other and call out themselves and being hypocrites at the same time and eat their own hypocrisy. It's going to be a constant thing. Now, what we need to watch out for, we need to make sure we're not eating ourselves alive as well, too.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I say it's important to have these type of conversations. But I do gotta go ahead and end it. Which, Jim, if you want to stay on more, it depends.
No, it sounds good. I gotta end it too. I'm starving. My moderator put fried chicken in the chat, and that's making me hungry because the black in me, for some reason, my melanin makes me want fried chicken. I have no clue why that is, but maybe science will find out later. But we'll find out.
He's a center leftist that's incredibly based. See, when Glitch is saying that a leftist is based, that's how you know like something is up, because Glitch does not like these leftists at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
even my cat's saying like Shuhei's based. But yeah, anyways, it's been me, the Ravencast. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off on my end. Y'all have a good one, and Martae, I'll keep in touch with you to have more of these conversations.
See you, dude.
And
take care, man.
Have a good night. Make sure y'all hit the like button on both streams, and y'all take care. Y'all take care. Have a good night.
All right, peace out, man. Yep.
Peace out. Peace. Hit the like button, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Actually, wait, hold on. One more short thing, and then I'm gonna end it. I want to comment on the Casey Putsch thing really quick. Don't leave yet. Stay in chat for just a second, guys, for just the Casey Putsch thing. Casey Putsch, like we talked about Martae, has unfortunately lost the primary race. And I am very disappointed. Vivek Ramaswamy has won. And yeah, he has won. And unfortunately, the March for America has lost in Ohio. But hopefully, Vivek loses. At the end of the day, it's like, doesn't matter. Vivek winning, losing. Democrats bad. Vivek is bad. Ohio is fucking cooked for the governor race. But anyways, it's been me, your boy, Lord Triton, and Jim. And we're signing out, and we'll see you guys 5 o'clock on Sunday. Y'all have a good night.
See ya.